Let's go back out to the boys down at Cramer Street Oval for the first quarter. And Phil, I need you to do some investigative journalism. I don't know if you have seen this report, but it sounds like you've got a few problems with birds down at the Oval.
What, at which...
Have a read.
Well, Bev, they're very prominent in the northern suburbs, I can tell you. At the Coburg ground, I think they had a bloke up there with a shotgun trying to get rid of them, and then the RSPCA got in the road. You know what it's like. Yes, they do cause a bit of trouble. You've got to take your own rug out to the old VFL ground.
Bit of a cleaning equipment too, it sounds.
Well, it's very hard to get rid of them. I think they try to use sound waves to get them out, but it is very, very difficult.
You have a good call, lads.
Good on you, Bev.
OK, thanks for that, Bev. Yes, the Box Hill Mustangs on your screen there in 10th place at 0-3 on the season. The Knights are 9th at 0, 3 losses and a draw. In fact, let's take you through the VFL ladder as it stands after round 4. And Phil, you'd be delighted to see the Borough on top. Gee, they're doing well, aren't they? 4 wins to start the season. Frankston and Williamstown also up there with Werribee.
I think they played the grand final about 1956, Port and Willie, 25,000 people at the Junction Oval. How about that? I imagine if the two oldest teams actually got to the top, but we don't want to begrudge anyone else. Of course, Frankston doing well, Werribee top form, North Ballarat tremendous, Springvale, you would never write them off, Sandy close. Now, can any of these bottom 4, as you called it, almost an elimination today for these two sides, and Preston unfortunately a draw the other week, you know.
Yes, with Sandringham,
which was a big effort, wasn't it? And Box Hill had done well against North Ballarat in that game, and Daniel Clark, gee, they had him in the best last week. Well, you know, he went all right, boys. I think you were sort of pumping up your match committee there with that call, though. He got 4 goals. Sautner was terrific. That was what a game we had last week.
We've had some rippers, haven't we, so far this season? You saw the goal kickers there. The goal kicking for Preston, as you see them there, is remarkable. Their leading goal kicker after 4 matches has 4 goals, and that is Gibson, Hallinan, Pascoe, Penn and Granger. They have no target up forward, and they've named Plunkett at full forward. Phil Plunkett at 176 centimetres at full forward, their main target.
Well, 181 centimetres at centre-half forward. They've got 189 up in the back half at centre-back, but that's small. Yes, look, I couldn't get out of the supermarket this morning. All the punters in the supermarket were all going to be tuned in, and they said, don't know about Preston's forward line-up, Phil. We think it's too small, so there you go.
Well, the shoppers, they have to be respected. There is the Box Hill side with Darren Wilkinson up forward. We've got him down for 12 goals on the season so far. They weren't too bad when we last saw them. They had, against North Ballarat, really pushed them to the wire in the end, lost by 9 points in a pretty tough contest.
Now, you don't sit on the fence when you call footy. Did the umpires rob them that day or what?
Oh, I'm not going to talk about the umpires, Phil. They look after us.
They were great last week, Roscoe, the umpires. We've I've made up with Kevin Mitchell by giving him a lot of praise last week. Have you found anyone down there, Roscoe, that can tell us anything interesting?
Well, I haven't got anyone to talk to for the moment, Phil, because I'm just chock full of information. I think that Michael Georgiadis, injuring his knee, kind of lost the game for Box Hill that day, with due respect to North Ballarat. Unfortunately, he's out.
You are so weak, honestly.
Yeah, and I love you too, Phil. Anyway, unfortunately for Michael Georgiadis, he's out for the rest of the year with a knee reconstruction. That's sad news for him. Pretty ideal conditions here. Phil Plunkett of Preston's won the toss and will kick to the Cramer Street end. That's the left of the screen. That's a gentle breeze they've got. And the Knights, as you're talking about their small forward line, they've lost a lot of players from last year and relying again on those under-18. Perhaps 2/3 of the side is new. So looking forward to a good game. And Phil, it's a great job going around. A marketing manager of the VFL, 100,000. That'd be about half your current salary, but it wouldn't be a bad job, would it?
Thanks, Ross. I saw that out in the Herald Sun today.
Do you think they'd let a bolshie like me get near that job, Roscoe?
He's walked away in disgust. There's the view.
Beautiful up at the old Cramer Street Oval. I've seen some great games here, Clinton. The old Port Preston games were pearlers out here. And one day there, Frankie Vergona missed the bloke bounced the ball. I think a Port player, and Frankie didn't see that he touched the ball on the ground, paid a free kick against him. They lost the game. They wanted to lynch him before he got out there. But he did get home, much to the chagrin of a few other players going around at the time.
Well, let's check out what happened in the reserves. A lopsided match on before the game, and it was a very comfortable win in the end to the Box Hill side. So just about ready to go. 20 goals, 13, 133 to 8-7, 55 in the reserves. Box Hill getting home. This man played pretty well when we saw him a couple of weeks ago, Brewer, and he gets the Mustangs going forward, and Haberfield marks at centre half. So a chance for Box Hill to go. Tranquilly waiting alongside, wanted it. In the end, he decides to send it inside for Holland. Kicks inside 50. Eccles against his former team. What a start. No, misses out to the right-hand side. And getting back was Ben Hayward anyway for the Knights, who can clear it to the outer side. A moment of anxiety for Preston coach Mark Williams early on. Now there's the ruckman Gay almost being paid the mark and/or a free kick. The 18-year-old. No, in fact, that's Scotty Granger out there. Sends it up to the wing. Bonadio started the season in good fashion, although that kick ill-directed, and Andrew Nicol is back there for the Mustangs to mark.
And Mark Williams of Preston, a bit surprised to see Darren Wilkinson out there, the Box Hill captain, but perhaps they're trying to exploit the height disadvantage of the Knights as they go into attack. Penn, one-handed, perhaps should have gone for two. The Mustang defence should be able to clear. But a good bit of pressure. Penn working it hard. Coming out by Holland for the Knights. And we've got a Holland on each side, a Dutchie on each side, Phil.
Ross, just on that call with Penn, he was really feeling for the ball, you know, and I think a harsh critic could say he should have just gone after it and taken the punt and got his body in the line, and he could have taken the mark, and you see the reserves there. A big win to Box Hill. 45 and 33, as we used to say. That makes about 78, I think.
Okay. Well done, Phil. I'll check it later. Here's Penn. Can't chance for amends. Up towards the square. Any big flyers? Good spoil by Nicol. And a smother on Haberman's kick by Nicol again. So two good spoils. I don't guess he doesn't get a clear possession, but two good smothers down in the stats.
I saw an Australian film last night called Praise, and I can tell you what, it's a lot brighter here at the Preston ground than it was in the cinema last night. Ross, if you're feeling suicidal, don't go and watch it.
From the throw-in, Gay had it, lost it, tries to get it towards the square. Tranquilly back there, sends it wide to the outer side. Box Hill have the numbers. Haberfield, number 47 there on your screen, threw it over. So if you were going to try and praise the film, evidently you won't, Phil.
Well, it's an interesting film about young people and the struggles they face. It's a bit of a grunge film, and there's a lot of things in it that suggest that life can be pretty miserable. But it's never like that in the box when we're together, boys. So where they need a bit of football, those people, I think.
Yes, indeed.
I need a red, Phil, and watch the footy replay after an afternoon with you.
That's better than what they were doing, I can tell you.
Brewer has it at half-back.
Played well the other week too, Clinton. Smart use of the ball player.
Carl Simkin comes up with it on half-back flank. Phil Plunkett stands the mark, the captain of the Knights. Simkin decides to play on. The umpire given some directional advice from some of the fans in the stand. Dooley had it but lost it. Now a chance for the Knights to come away. Good little set-up here. Ball taken by Haberman. Kick towards full forward. Plunkett back there. That's why he's named full forward, perhaps. And now a chance for the opening score after just on 3.5 minutes.
Well, we should say about him, Clinton and Ross, you can back me up or you can disagree with me if you like. But this fella, of course you can. We've seen him play some good games, haven't we? And playing close to goal, takes strong marks. He plays a little bit taller than his actual height, and I think viewers will know what I mean by that.
For the opening score of the game, Plunkett kicks a goal.
And Phil, the fact that he's captain at 24, I mean, it is a young side, but there's testimony to the high standing they have here for him.
Well, he stood up, didn't he, when there was the possibility that they might go out of the competition, and he was a very public figure. He spoke well about what the club meant to him, and he was only a boy. That was, what, 2 years ago, so I suppose he was around the 22, 23 mark. We'll see it here. Sorry, Clint.
Briefly, gentlemen, your selections on this match we didn't get.
Don't ask me that. I think Box Hill will win it,
I'll go with you, Phil.
If they can, you know, they've got to work hard in the midfield, Preston, but usually it becomes too hard to do it for a whole game, Clinton.
They go for it again, the Knights. Nicol back there. First score on the board to the Knights, so a good start. They need it. Bouncing ball, well gathered. Up towards Big Slater. Good recovery by the big fella. Nice evasive sidestep into the middle. Here's Brewer. It was touched, though. You'll have to get rid of it. He wasn't really tackled. He should have been. Chance around the corner from Haberman, and not quite far enough. So we got Haberman on each side.
Had a bit more time there, Roscoe. Haberfield, wasn't it?
Haberfield, sorry.
Haberfield. He just could have gone another yard and made a Monty of it.
Bonadio kicks to a pack. Tranquilly flew, couldn't take it. Roving was Mangan, who's been on a couple of AFL lists, the Knights player. This is Milne soccering it wide towards the outer side. Boundary line wins out as Luke Jenkins, who's been named in Box Hill's best each week to start the season across their opening 3 games, so he would be doing well in their best and fairest voting at the moment.
And as we speak, Ross Booth is tapping into the Preston Knights website, so we'll come back to you shortly with a bit of info.
Yes. Slater palmed it down. This is Ricky Frost gathering possession on the outer side, setting up a charge for the Knights. Kicks towards the lead of Plunkett coming out. He slid into it, couldn't quite bring it in. They still might be a chance, though. Gathering possession now is Mitchell. Little hand pass back. Loading it up and going long was Taylor towards the square. Missing to the right-hand side and just one behind.
I don't think their website's... It's about to go online, Phil, put it that way. Yeah, so write it down and into the internet on during the week. Dooley has the ball in defence for the Mustangs. Darren Wilkinson giving a lot of instructions about where to kick the ball. It'll be pre-match, the captain. Gibson for the Knights, Collingwood and Hawthorn into Mitchell. There he goes short. Frost, nowhere to go, looking for Zorzi, but it's intercepted by Jenkins. Good tackle, Zorzi. He loses it. Leaving it behind was McCartney. Brewer with the left hand was good. Off the ground, no miss by Holland. Tapped out by Mitchell. Here's a chance for Bonadio. Bang, he goes right to the square. Plunkett, loose ball, no one there.
Notice how Plunkett there used his body. Well, of course, he has to at his height, but he backed into the player. Smart player, always like seeing players using what they've got to best advantage.
2 desperate teams today. Between them in 7 matches this season, no wins. The Knights with a draw and 3 defeats. Box Hill with 3 defeats as Jason Disney brings it back into play. His target, the tall man Slater, worked his way in front. Gay with a good punch behind. Now another chance. This is Penn on the run from 45. Missing to the right. The Knights with their chances early, yet to convert.
But it's a good sign for them. Well, let's face it, you know, they had a draw to
good
Sandringham. Like,
2-point loss to Port Melbourne.
That's a good effort. They're very enthusiastic. Slater marks in front of Gay. Off to Tranquilli. To half forward. Pacing after it is Shane Sikora. And over the line, appealing is by Hayward and winning the free kick. It'll go to Brewer. So didn't keep the ball in, just tapped it over the line. Brewer, just 3-quarter kick. Oh, a nice mark from Bonadio. Gee, great lead. Wastes no time. Backwards, but finds a man. Move it. Penn receives a hand pass. Good shepherding. Linking up. Granger goes for the torpedo. Wasn't effective. Bouncing ball tapped nicely to Brebner. Got some toe and he's got a man loose. Gee, makes it hard for him to stretch. That's Eccles. Granger. Oh, hard of the ball again was Bonadio. Bonadio. Little chip. Gibson looking for something. Centering kick. Well, might make it hard for Mitchell. He let it slip through. Good work by the big fellow Slater, showing his mobility. Brewer couldn't quite shake the tackle. Good defensive punch away. Back to Brewer. That's a 10-metre kick, and Jenkins takes the mark.
Brewer already with 5 or 6 possessions so far. Jenkins out wide on the bounce, trying to track it. Haberfield. Now Holland back to Haberfield. Close to the boundary line. Runs away from Ross Mann. Wobbly old kick inside 50. Wilkinson with some work to do. And he goes to ground. And now the Knights' chance to clear, although a good smother. But it still comes the way of Preston. Towards midfield. Brebner from the point of the square at half forward. Eccles arriving late. The Knights should be able to clear. And Bonadio, what a start to the game he's had as well. He's had possessions all over the place. This is Gibson now towards centre half forward. They've got the numbers. Disney from behind with the punch away. Holland, this is Holland of the Knights now. Can he try and set them up? Shorts it back for Simon Taylor. Well tackled. Just got his hand pass away. Not exactly looking pretty at the moment.
Need to put a bell in that football, I'd suggest, Clinton.
Gay with a handball to Mitchell. Goes short. That's all right. And Stuart Mangan has it 55 out. Now, he will wait. Been on a couple of AFL lists, has Stuart Mangan-Ross. Collingwood one of them, and
Sydney
the other. So you would suggest he'll have some range in his kicking for goal. Whether or not he's got 55 metres in him, the point of conjecture after 10 minutes. 1-3 plays, one behind. Mangan with the long left footer, won't be a goal, and they're happy to see it through for a behind. 1-4 to one behind.
Phil, Matthew Bonadeo was the Preston Knights under-18 captain last year, so
well, they've got some
good leadership skills.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good class. They've got a lot of good skills. They play with a lot of class for young players. I do think that there at times a tendency not to understand how to play the physical game, which takes them a little bit longer to learn because they're generally played with kids.
McCartney dribbles inside 50. There's a hand on it. Plunkett. Oh, down goes Pascoe, and I guess he was really the receipt of the hand pass, but the man right on his hammer from Plunkett. And Pascoe couldn't convert, so 1-5 to the Knights as Disney kicks in short to Brebner. He's using possession footy in the back half. Now Sikora has it half-back flank. Just slowing it down. There's a lead from Gerstmann. It's preferred to go in short to Tranquilli. Overlapping McCartney, now coming out wide to Brewer, having a great start. Finding some space on Cramer Street, slowing it down. Gerstmann's led under the ball, and have to go long, looking for Eccles. He'll come to the spoil. Bonadeo was there. Oh, a high tackle, not paid. Gerstmann has it kicked out of his hands. Nickel had to be quick. Another chance, but it's all Preston. 3 go up. They could have raffled it. Tackle on Pitt. And it's Gibson, and there'll be a ball up. 11 minutes in, and Box Hill yet to score a goal. Preston 1-5.
From the bounce, chance for Tranquilli. Has to get his kick away. It was touched off the boot. It's touched. They'll have to keep going. Taken by Ben Hayward. Has a little bit of room to run. From one bounce, delivers up towards Frost in front, couldn't take it, and it was knocked away by McCartney. Now Brewer, he's got it on a string at the moment. Possession number 8, I reckon, for him now. Good use of the body by Wilkinson. Heard the umpire say that's okay, and he stabs the pass into Sikora, and he'll shoot from 45 metres out. We'll keep you posted on the 2 AFL matches being played today at the MCG. Richmond 2-1-13 over the Bombers, yet to score, while the Cats are 8 points in front of the Hawks early stages at Cardinia Park. We'll keep you posted over the course of the afternoon.
Big reunion there, of course, for the 89.
Here's Shane Sikora from 40 metres out, right through the middle. The Mustangs get there first. Good addition for the Box Hill side this year, Shane Sikora, and he gets them on the board after 13 minutes. The margin is 4 points.
Well, Preston are handling the ball a lot, aren't they? It is a problem when you don't have the targets. Most people remember playing in sides without targets. It tends to force you to go wide and fiddle a lot, and it can be very frustrating. They've kept the ball off Box Hill, but Box Hill have got the goal to just settle a bit. It's going to be an interesting game at ground level, this one.
In that centre square, ascendancy from Sikora. McCartney had to kick quickly. Bonadeo in the way. Out to Rossman. Spears the kick. Good half volley gather. It's Gibson. Back to Bonadeo, running strongly from half-back. Zorzi heads long, looking for Plunkett. Well, he didn't go anywhere near him. The kick wobbled off the boot, and Nichols had a lot of possession in defence. Brewer spoiling at the back was good. Good start from him.
It was an interesting choice there to go to Brewer, who was with a player, and yet there was another couple of players short of him who were on their own, so that was not a good percentage kick, really. Might have been better going longer over the top.
Now Slater trying to flick it to the back of the pack. Disney managed to force it away. Tranquilli had to be quick. Sikora coming through, couldn't take the mark. Follows up well. Handball though, no one was really running for him. Now perhaps another chance for the Knights. Can Rossman run onto the kick from Simon Taylor? He couldn't get there first. Collings did very well, used his body well as well. Haberfield now stops and props. Over the top to Collings. Met very heavily. Ball ricochets away, and Gibson will be able to relieve any pressure for the Knights, although good second effort by Haberfield. Knights mucking around. Haberman there. Brebner. Gee, Box Hill have done very well here to force this issue. Gersman feeds it out to Sikora. Good short pass. Now they can try and get going. Lining it up as Giannopoulos, and with his first kick of the day, he has kicked a goal. Well, Preston mucked around with that a lot. Giannopoulos gets his 6th goal of the season, and Box Hill, who really haven't dominated by any stretch. They've been out of it for a while, but they've taken the lead after 15 minutes just with sheer tenacity, Phil, on that outer side. The Smothers, the Shepherds, and everything else, those hard 1%ers.
Well, into the corridor too. Giannopoulos is able to power in and kick the goal, but Preston Knights just going wide so often and fiddling with the ball.
They're coming again, the Mustangs. The kick from Tranquilli into the pocket. Brebner overrunning it. A chance here for Hayward.
Get out of the road, umpire.
Play outside the defensive 50. Sikora chasing. Oh, that overrun for Preston by Hallinan. Back in it comes. Wilkinson, the spoil at the back. Good gather, Eccles. Palms it off. Attempted kick off the ground. There's a free. No, not paid. Now, where's Haberman going? Back into the corridor. A little bit.
It was like he thought it was a free.
Just giving it back to the player. Hayward from Gibson. Hallinan and Mangan. Better from the Knights. Long kick, a beautiful kick. Plunkett in front. Was anyway. Rowe goes down. There's a free to Nickel. Racking up possessions into the defensive half, but a very long kick. Too long in the end for Plunkett.
Some of the fans watching on this coolish Saturday afternoon as we check the free kick again. Nickel being caught high from the free. It makes its way to Slater at centre-half back. Brings it out towards the wing. Brewer from behind. He's got my 3 votes so far, although, as we know from history, that doesn't count for a lot. He kicks it up towards Giannopoulos, and he'll get a free kick. Bonadio coming in late.
Gee, I thought his eyes were on the ball.
There's the mark from Brewer. So Giannopoulos too far out to score. Eccles provides one lead. He'll get 50. Goes against Bonadio. This will be a 2nd goal for Giannopoulos. And Box Hill, all of a sudden, are going to have 3 goals in 5 minutes to take an 8-point lead.
Out of the frying pan into the fire, Phil. He was a bit stiff early, I thought.
I think so. Well, there was not a lot in it, really, in the first free kick. The umpire's closer. I mean, you'd have to sort of ponder that, wouldn't you? The 50-metre would be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, he probably just crept over the mark and didn't obey the umpire's instruction.
The former Eastern Ranger, Paul Giannopoulos, slots through for his 2nd. And Box Hill, after 18 minutes, having trailed by 10 points 5 minutes ago, now lead by 8, 3-1, 19 to 159. 11.
And I was just listening to the 4th umpire on our ABC radio this morning, where I have so many friends. Tim Lanigan, g'day there. But and he was talking about kicking over the mark and the fact that on the boundary line, in fact, players do not have to come in the 5 minutes. You know, we've always thought, Blake, so they come in 5 minutes, got to stand on the line. That one, of course, he was ruled as being over the mark. There didn't seem to be much in that either.
Stay up late Monday nights, Phil. Mangan with a hand past a pen from the 50-metre line on the left foot, looking for Plunkett, but it's taller Box Hill defenders in control. Here's Brett Rowe, able to run away pretty easily. Kick not so good on the left foot. Half volley for Jenkins. Nice hand pass into Sikora. From an Eagle, that's West Coast Eagle. Dished out in the direction of Brewer again. Back to Giannopoulos. Slater. Oh, that was intended for Gersman. He had a man right in his hammer. And just trying to charge through the Box Hill defenders. Gersman with strength out to Jenkins. Made something of nothing. Here's Wilkinson. Oh, good mark by Hayward in defence for the Knights.
Well, he's doing well in that he's moving right back into the contest with Wilkinson. No doubt that'll be a tactic you see there, because Wilkinson one-on-one is very hard to move off the line.
This is Pitt, finds an open man, good vision on the play. Matthew Penn now with possession, goes short to the lead on the wing, provided by Pascoe. That's good hook-up football with Mangan, now towards full forward. But the Box Hill players certainly had the numbers. Holland of the Knights arriving late. Andrew Nicol will take the free kick.
Just on, Wilkinson did the bye last week. After the game, they weren't sure whether it was a hamstring or a groin, so he may not be quite right, Wilkinson.
Disney out wide. Brewer with a stack of possession so far. Sold the dummy nicely there. Goes short. And it's a good disposal this time as he finds Brebner. Brewer with 11 possessions on the quarter. Brebner now towards the wing. McCartney, good hands in front of Frost. And he takes the mark. Box Hill is certainly a better team over the last 10 minutes. A little bit of confidence in their play as the train rattles past. McCartney towards centre half forward. Giannopoulos, one hand there, not the second. Working at it. Gersman. Mangan off the ground out wide. Now the Knights can try and set something up. Gibson. Finally it sits for him. Has a lead short provided by Mitchell. Decides to go over his head towards vacant territory at half forward, hoping for the boundary line. And he succeeds in doing just that. A minute into time on. It's the Mustangs 19, the Knights 11.
Seeing a lot more of this player going across the ground. Box Hill there went absolutely nowhere by handing the ball off to a player too far in defence and not around the player on the mark. They're not able to attack correctly.
Yeah, interesting to hear the coaches at quarter time, or one of them at least. I mean, Gibson hits it in the direction of Plunkett. Chance for Holland. Holland 49 of the Knights.
You mentioned that indirect football. That's what Brendan Mason's team was doing when we saw them a fortnight ago. He told them, I think, at three-quarter time go direct. They did. They almost won the game. Here they've started out going wide again.
Look, well, we used at drills, the drills you do, you would handball to a player coming past, but you'd wait till he cleared the man on the mark or he was in sufficient space. If you go too far back, you still got to clear the man on the mark. And you end up going so far sideways.
Frost with the snap.
Nothing opens up, Roscoe, and I just think that's the thing. You know, players are really keen. They take a mark. G'day there, explaining. I'm not pontificating, I'm just talking. They take a mark in the back half and think they've got to hand it off. That's right, but a smart play, you know, Greg Williams, he always lands the handball, doesn't he, when the player's clear. You hang on.
Disney towards Slater. Gay from behind, almost tried to claim it. Pascoe overruns it. Brebner, he's been prominent. You really do notice the dreadlocks. Had to wrap the kick around his body for Tranquilli. He couldn't get it. That's a good grab. Hayward taking it. Almost collecting a couple of our ABC staffers on the boundary line.
Now look where he's kicking from, yep. Clinton. Look, that player should be on the boundary line, according to the umpire this morning on 3-0. Ross, there's a task for you.
Haberman.
I don't know what it is yet, but explain to me at quarter time.
Well, that player on the mark was in about 5 metres. The fourth umpire this morning, or this afternoon, after 12 it was.
Haberman towards centre half forward, no one there. Nichols been pretty good, solid down back for the Mustangs in this opening quarter. He stood tall there. Plays on the handball. Disney decides to go more direct on this occasion. Rowe. Now, will the Mustangs go direct today? Rowe towards Brewer. Why not? He's been impressive. Had a couple to beat on that occasion. This time more direction from the Knights. Hallinan down the middle. Oh, good solid mark. Zorzi. Probably right on the edge of his limit, I'd say, on 50, maybe just a fraction beyond, Ross.
Yeah, he's a good kick. Very talented player.
Yeah, players tend to kick the ball quite a distance now, don't they? I was thinking that before. Some very long drop punt kicks. Catches you by surprise. There's no real breeze. The ball will travel nicely.
Arrived from Epping. Brett Zorzi from 49 metres out. Hooks it, trying to get the extra distance. Got the distance, no problems. Kicks a behind, and Preston will be kicking themselves. 1-7.
Well, that kick went about 7 rows up on the terrace there. You see the view from the side. Preston Knights, box in the background. Western side of the Cramer Street ground.
Box Hill fiddling around in defence, just trying to work something out. Disney, interchanging with McCartney. Oh, right on the sign. Gee, 24.5 minutes, 24:22 on the clock.
I'm sorry we've held the timekeeper up from their 5 o'clock appointment. They want to get somewhere.
4 goals only in the term.
Oh, dear.
At 8 behind, there's the quarter-time score. Box Hill lead by 6 points after Preston got the first goal.
Poor Bev O'Connor's going to be filling for about 45 minutes this afternoon from about 4:15. I hope she's got enough in store, but at quarter time, yes. An accurate Box Hill with just 4 scoring shots against an inaccurate Preston with 8. 3-1-19 to 1-7-13. Giannopoulos with a couple of goals for the Mustangs. Sikora with 1. Plunkett, the captain of the Knights, with their only goal. Phil, just a word before we hand back to Bev.
Well, I know Bev will be out doing a bit of pot planting or plant potting or whatever you call it, Roscoe, at the moment. She'll have to rush back, so I'll give her a bit of time. But they're going... too indirect, basically, Clinton. We know that Preston Knights, of course, are not as tall as Box Hill. You'd reckon on paper Box Hill will be able to do the job, but they've not been very good at getting to their targets either. So I think both coaches will be emphasising to just be a bit more strategic with their handball and their kicking. You've got to be strategic. You know, you don't... Handing it off to a player under pressure isn't the best strategy. And also, they're not clean with a lot of their possession. So that's going to be the bottom line issue, I would think, at the present time.
So a short opening quarter here at Cramer Street at Preston, and there are the details. Box Hill by 6 points at quarter time. Bev, Box Hill 3-1. The Knights 1-7.
Thank you, Clinton, and thank you for your concern. I could probably keep everyone entertained with my early morning exploits on the shopping channel, if you like, if we finish very early. Time now to rejoin the boys at Cramer Street for the second quarter in our match of the day. And we noticed, lads, that one of the goal kickers there for Box Hill has had a few games at the West Coast. Is he a new recruit for this year, Mr. Sikora?
Certainly is. Bev, yes, played some time in the West Star Rules. That's when I saw him, when I was over in Perth back in 1997, although he always seemed to be injured, had plenty of problems, but with Box Hill this year, and it's good to see them getting the pickup, Shane Sikora, Phil.
Well, he's only 22 years of age too, Bev, so, you know, you'd look at a player and think, oh, well, he's been around, but at 22, God, if he was good enough, he'd go on. But we're going to have a look at the coaches or listen and see what Mark Williams has to say.
So use the space. Some good long kicks, some good leads, some great aggression. That's what we're after, some real good aggression. Some of you play some great hard leads at the ball, been really good. Right. And disposal on the forward line. I've touched on that. Let's make sure this quarter, we're spot on with everything we do. All right? Kicks have been good. The kicks have been nice and long. We've been using it, as we said before the game. The one handball out, long into the forward line. But we need to use it better. All right? We need to spot our kicks. Punk's leading well. Jules is leading well as well. So let's get some more movement around. That's our game, isn't it? You see when we move the ball quickly and we have options up the field. The ball moves very quickly and it moves very well. Big concentration. All right. Where's Frosty? Frosty? Yep. Frosty must fight to be in front, mate. You've got to be in front all the time. By the time you just got caught behind, it can happen, but just watching the ball, spectating a bit, instead of being spot on, wait for the pitcher to come out and get caught behind. Can't afford to do that. All over the ground, we can't afford to do that, fellas. When I look up, I want to see the back line man on man, side by side. I want to see the middle, side on side by side. I want to see the forwards in front, ready to move. All right? All right. We need to move the ball on quickly. Right? So the way we do that is having runners. Right? The runs from behind have been good. And what's been going on from upstairs is there's no talk. There's no talk and telling directing players where to go, where to move the ball. The runners are there. It's no use if the runners are there if you don't tell blokes they're on or direct them with your voice. All right?
So Mark Williams referring to his notes there, the coach of the Preston team. His side trailing by 6 points, needs some conversion up forward. Phil, there were some highlights across the first quarter, across that 24 minutes. Let's check some of them out now. Wilkinson taking the mark there for Box Hill, helping upset one of a couple of goals early on. Sikora kicking one of them, and Giannopoulos adding a couple as well. And Box Hill not all that badly placed.
No, but look, in a nutshell, Clinton, I would like to see the sides, these sides such as these, get their players in closer, move through the corridor and try to, instead of all this fiddling around on the boundary line, of course, don't think I'm trying to be old-fashioned here and saying that you can't be out there. Of course, you can end up on the outskirts, and at any game there'll be plenty of play out there. It's inevitable. But too much of the game here, like out around the flanks, I mean, that's a 50-50 chance. He's not an odds-on to mark that, is he? That was a player.
There was that free
kick,
yeah. And ultimately a 50-metre penalty, which cost a goal. And in the context of a low-scoring game, very costly.
Indeed, enough to make you very unhappy. But we didn't quite spot it. And then the stats, the kicks, not much in it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Handballs 20-12. Preston without a free kick. The leading possession winners, Brewer, has 11 possessions of Box Hill's 55.
Indeed, so he's really alive, but it's not enough linking up. But the frees, it's interesting, isn't it? Only 4 free kicks and none to Preston, partly because that in a way reflects, I think some coaches think, reflects the lack of physical nature of the game, you know? I mean, you want to be disciplined, but we're not really tackling hard enough. Ross, we had to listen to Mark Williams. What was it like in the Box Hill camp?
Yes, well, they broke up into 3 groups. This is common in football these days, defenders, forwards and on-ballers, and then brought them all together. Brendan Mason, I listened very carefully, he said he didn't mind the players going wide in the back half, but then to bring it back into the corridor. Darren Wilkinson's being double-teamed up there, so big responsibility to James Gerstmann at centre-half forward to make a contest there, but reasonably happy with their position. Is a bit of a breeze blowing from the south, Phil, to the left of screen.
OK, thanks for that, Ross. That's the end. Box Hill are kicking to the left of screen for this second quarter, but Taylor gets the centre clearance for the Knights. Brebner had it, lost it, got it back. Did well, delivers up towards the attacking side of the wing. Ross Mann, good defender from behind, forced the issue there. Bonadio can't get there first. This is Jenkins. He's had a good start to the season for the Mustangs. He's out very wide. There he tries to bring it into the corridor. Wilkinson flies. This is Sikora. Just loops the handball over the top, intended for Giannopoulos. He had to go for the punch. Mann lost it. Box Hill player well tackled. We will have a bounce. And that man getting up, Haberfield. So a bounce, 40 out from the Mustangs' goal.
When Brendan Mason says about going wide, of course, he's more than likely referring to the notion of changing direction, which is quite legitimate, but getting it back into the corridor is the crucial aspect, I think, of the game.
Gerstmann hurries the kick, and it goes out very wide. And it is out of bounds on the full. Preston's leading ball winner across the opening quarter. Bonadio with 7 possessions. Mangan had 6. Hayward and Gibson 5 apiece. Aside from the 11 for Brewer, Slater had 6 touches and Nicol had 5. So the Knights to try and set something up perhaps here. In the pack was Gay. All knocked away. Now can they get some drive going? Pascoe. Mangan. Back to the running Pascoe. This is looking far more promising. Having to wait underneath it, though, was Mitchell. And stacks on the mill, as they say, and we'll have a bounce in the middle. There is the Box Hill bench. And you can hear the walkie-talkie ringing away with changes from Brendan Mason already.
After just 2 minutes of that first term, lovely ruck work by Slater. Pascoe puts it wide, umpire almost in the way. Target is Zorzi on that taller man in Nicol, who's really held sway back there. Nicol on the ground. Gaining confidence after a broken leg a year or so ago. Incredible height difference between Nicol, centre half back, and Zorzi. Going the ruck. Mitchell. He was dispossessed. Tackle on Taylor.
Zorzi's really got to take Nicol out of the action. They've got to try to run the ball through the corridor and then kick over the 50, Roscoe, to within about 30 and have Plunkett mobile there. That would be the best strategy if they would just kick a winning score.
Umpire Davison, the bounce, taken by Slater. Tranquilly, up and under, out to Brewer. Twisting and turning is Collins. He going very wide to Eccles. Used to this ground. Little chips back to Tranquilli. Haven't got very far and the play stationary. Good use of the ball. He goes backwards. The Knights player and Mangan slips. Well, could have been Mangan. It was Gay slipping because Mangan's got it. He puts it out in front of Plunkett. Rowe misses it. McCartney in to save the day. Left the ball behind, but luckily is able to land on it. No free kick, Phil.
They don't deserve a free kick for that. If you're going to play stupid football, you don't get a free kick to get out of trouble.
I can't. What is Andrew Tranquilli doing there? I mean, all right, bring it into the corridor, but don't go backwards in the process.
They'll be running through our box here in a minute. The way they come, we'll have to clear the decks.
Just running down the clock in the second quarter.
Now perhaps a chance for the Knights. The high ball towards full forward. 2-on-1. Box Hill with the numbers. Plunkett those a trier. He'll keep working. This is Mangan on the left. Should nail it and does.
Now,
all square after 4 minutes. Stuart Mangan gets his first.
well, Clinton, you've called him a few times, haven't you? Dashing through, long left foot kicks. How would he be if he had a really big target, you know, sitting up there in the goal square? Someone like a Smith at Springvale or Spider Shaw. A Spider Shaw would kick 150 with him plumping the ball down to him, and he's a beautiful deliverer of the ball. But once he went round onto the left, there wasn't going to be much doubt that that coffee fought football would go straight over the top of the goal umpire's head.
Well, Slater beat Gay pointlessly there with the tap down. Tranquilly thumps it this time. Wilkinson, let's see how he's travelling. In comes Eccles. Giannopoulos there in support. Misses him. Oh, Sakura. Oh, missed from point blank range.
Beverly put the moz on him, I think, quarter time. But that was an easy goal. He just, I don't know what he did. Really, well, he didn't kind of kick through the football, I suppose, essentially.
Bonadio to Pascoe, lost it. Chance now for Box Hill. They might end up having to concede another behind here, the Knights. Taylor to Pascoe, back to Taylor. They're out of trouble, but they have gone very, very wide. Having to wait underneath it was Hayward, and it was well punched away by Luke Jenkins. We will have a boundary throw-in beneath the grandstand and the coaching box. Chewing gum going quickly. Throw in. Slater had it but lost it. Holland to lend some support. Pascoe tied up by Jenkins. We'll do that process again, this time with a bounce. Plenty of urging from the faithful on this Saturday afternoon at Cramer Street. Slater, great palm down to Tranquilli. High ball towards full forward. Wilkinson coming out, but gee, Bonadio, he's been impressive. The handball to Man, and the Knights can run.
Yeah, switching play. Oh, Man loves to run. He's doing it very well too. Carry the ball a long way. Around Gersman. Oh, too far, says umpire Davidson.
But look at Ross, where he finally kicked that ball. They took the ball from the other side of the ground. He went right around on the eastern side, and then he brought it back to the western side, probably 35 to 40 metres from where the ball was originally. If we were to see that again and have a look at it on a map, it would look very interesting.
And those ladies provided the afternoon tea at Box Hill 2 weeks ago, and it was magnificent. Fed off to Brewer. Brewer from 60 metres right into the square. And a mark. Wilkinson, a push. No. Was it touched? I can't work out why it wasn't paid. Hallinan hits it towards the boundary line for the Knights. In support, Mangan. Taylor too long and penalised. Yes, good decision. Sakura lays the tackle. Plenty of time to get rid of.
Well, we have a lot of conjecture about that rule over the years. Well, it's probably been in about 3 years now, I think, that prior opportunity rule, but it was perfectly obvious there. The ball did not touch the player's foot after he was tackled. It went straight to the ground, Ross.
Yep.
And that means holding the ball.
And he had more than enough opportunity.
Oh,
so
an abundance of time, Roscoe.
Abundance. Sakura for number 2. Touched it was. Who's at the fall of the ball? It's Pascoe, but he couldn't gather it. Haberfield. Good snap. Very good snap from Haberfield. The Mustangs have the... No, well, not so. Looked good. He thought it was a goal. He's a bit shocked, disappointed. 2 behinds.
So you, Ross, it was a good call.
Yeah, I thought it was a goal.
Behind
not
the
over,
season.
not over until the umpire says so. You went early.
I did.
Oh, dear. Stuart Mangan to bring it back into play. The Knights trailing by a couple of points. Certainly a game up for grabs, this one.
Well, we get the close ones.
Oh, you have scripted them well this year, Phil. You're like Don King. How's this one go to win? The clearing kick.
Don't mention Don.
No, please don't.
I'd like to think there was a little bit about us that was different, apart from the colour of our skin.
Granger getting it away. Now a chance for the Knights. This is looking better. Hayward to Pascoe. Has room to run. Hurries the kick inside 50. Plunkett in the middle. Not quite. Still working, though, the Preston team. This is Holland to Plunkett. The hurried snap. The hurried snap. A great goal. Oh, boy. Plunkett gets his second. There's something out of nothing from the Knights, and they're in front at the 9-minute mark of the second term.
Just when we thought that the cream cake was going to be the most exciting part of the afternoon, the boys have really gone up a notch. This is a fantastic goal by Plunkett. Comes out of nothing, really. Ball, he goes high, hits the deck. Gee, he fought hard there. In a sense, he deserved it, Clinton, didn't he?
Great recovery.
Little bloke up against the two. Nearly got the mark on the second grab and sunk it through on the left boot. Will this fire them up a bit?
Great.
I suspect so, Roscoe.
Holland, there's the score. The Knights now by 4, 10 minutes in. And that ball goes laterally. Out of bounds in front of the Cramer Street Pavilion. Bonadio racing back with his man Giannopoulos. He's kicked 2 goals. Bonadio had a dream start. Probably told to tighten up a bit. Slater, too much bulk and height. Wins again in the ruck. McCartney couldn't keep it in. Crashed into the fence by Ricky Frost.
Boundary line's a little bit close to the fence here, Roscoe.
It's not like they couldn't move it in a metre or two.
Big ground with parallel wings. Almost rectangular with the corners cut off. Free kick against Gay to Slater. Little gift to Tranquilli. Thump. Well, Wilkinson and Granger. I don't really think Wilkinson looks 100%. Phil, what do you think?
Oh, no doubt about it, Roscoe. No doubt about it. When the ball's loose, you see him. He's putting the short steps in on every occasion. And in the end, it just doesn't work. You know, he can't get close enough, and they're bottling him up there. They've got a tall bloke slipping in, playing it well.
Gay worked his way to the front, almost got a nudge. Eccles caught high by Man. And Paul Eccles will line it up. I didn't think there was too much conjecture about that, but the gentleman in the stands thought, well, he wasn't overly happy by it.
Well, the day the opposition supporters start agreeing with the umpire, there'll be no point playing the game of football, Clinton.
So Paul Eccles, you see what he's got to aim at to try and give the Mustangs the lead. Knows a bit about this ground, as Ross mentioned earlier. A former Knights player. And he's on the board with his first goal. Box Hill are back in front.
Well, he never looked like missing there. Clean as a whistle. These free kicks, of course, the player Man. Well, the reason he got him high was that he didn't keep his eye on him and he let him slip past him. He was more like worried about him bumping in, and when you go for a play, you just got to put your whole body into it, Clinton. Put the arms around him and grab. He didn't do that with much verve, did he? And he paid the price.
Simon Taylor chases. He's got a bit of verve. Collins got a high one. Haberman was quick. Gay. Interesting ball for Bonadio. Back the second time. Smothered by Nickel. Rebounding kick from Penn. He had more opportunity. Disappointed with his final result there. Out of bounds on the full.
Oh, if he kicked that, I'd have said I'd like to see that again, because that was remarkable. Talk about deflections and rebounds and smothers, and then out of the blue.
You'll get to see it
Bang.
anyway, Phil.
Yes. Look at that. Perfect placement.
That's an assist in basketball speak. Slater takes the mark in front of Gay. Slater's been pretty good over the last couple of matches that we've seen for the Mustangs. Down the wing, Gersman too far underneath it. And his direct opponent there, and Hayward couldn't gather it. Gersman, good recovery, just knees that one out. Now Bonadio again. Penn with the knock on. This is looking more promising now. And a chance for Haberman. Kicks towards Plunkett coming out. Couldn't get there in time. And Dooley He's back there to take it. That kicks someone off the side of the boot. Jenkins having to wait underneath it. Good couple of efforts. Couldn't pull it in. Now a chance. Mangan. Oh, this is looking promising now. Penn on the run from 55. Good pass. Ricky Frost should go back and take his shot for goal. Although he looks like he wants to pass it off. The young 18-year-old, formerly from St Damian's, like Matthew Bonadio. And now a chance for Ricky Frost to put the Knights back in front. Another seesawing match of the round on ABC Sport, although this time he misses out to the right-hand side, just a behind from Ricky Frost. He is second, and after 14 minutes, it's a one-point game.
Another player by the name of Frost wears number 4. Current Liston trophy.
Had a great game last week against Coburg too, they tell me.
Up goes Holland, spoiling. Brewer dropped the mark. Gibson. Harris over the line by Pascoe was Brewer. Well, now it's over the line. And Adam Collins and David Holland and Christian Pascoe. Holland watching Pascoe. They've had a couple of push and shoves behind play. Nothing didn't attract the attention of the umpire. Slater having a field day, just holding aside his man Gay. Perhaps could stand aside and jump, I would reckon. Slater dishes out the hand pass. Another smother was good. Eccles, Collins, no pressure. And a free kick going Preston's way, I think, off the ball. So a little bit of niggling, a bit of frustration. Taylor takes the free. Man's unattended. Now it's Gibson. Heads long. Slater gets back in the space and spoils. Quick hand pass, too quick. McCartney got a touch on it. Into the square. Big Slater concedes a behind.
Well, they're vocal out here this afternoon, aren't they? Disney goes short for Nickel.
Always have been, Clinton, I can tell you.
Did we get a can in the back of the head at this venue?
Close enough.
Nickel to Brewer. He was caught behind. Good second effort, working hard. Tried to feed the hand pass out to Sikora. Couldn't get it anywhere. And we will have a bounce in the middle. Just see Gersman joining the team on the bench.
It's the false teeth that were a problem out here, Clinton, I can tell you. Especially thrown from 50 paces, Roscoe.
All square at 27.
Player or spectator?
I never quite asked.
Ordinary bounce. Gay side the dummy nicely. Mangan ran into trouble. Whipped a handball over the top. This could be okay. Haberman too far out to score. Plunkett the lead.
Oh, good.
He's not a bad target up forward. He plays on quickly. Pops it up to the hot spot, hoping for a mark, and gets just that from Shannon Gibson.
And Plunkett kicked that with his left foot. Am I correct there?
And it's a 50-metre penalty against Holland, so Gibson will get a goal.
Yeah, well, there was a little bit... Actually, Gibson did the little bit of niggling in that incident. I'd like to see that again, actually. But very interesting, wasn't it, to see Plunkett take a beautiful mark, go into his left foot. He's a natural right footer, that is, and set it up.
And Shannon Gibson aims it straight at Mitch and hit him. He hit Mitch's camera, and Mitch was diving out of the way. Instead of trying to mark it, he just thought, forget the $800,000 ABC camera, I'll protect myself. And Preston take the lead on the goal from Shannon Gibson.
Careful what you say. I saw Mitch. He's not having a great day. He's not feeling very well.
Well, he's fought too many union battles to be worrying about fighting the football as well, our Mitch. Now, let's have a look at Plunkett. Did I get this right? I had a feel... Yeah, look at that. Left foot. Not many players that are amphibious these days, Roscoe. Ambidextrous, of course, is what I mean. But what did happen there? Gee, couldn't spot that.
Yeah, a bit of a knee there, a little bump. Now, who can clear it out of the square? Jenkins is trying. Tranquilly, Gibson tackles him. $18 minutes in, and the Knights lead by 6 points. That might be a surprise to some. Phil and I tipped Box Hill. Clinton, who did you tip?
I always sit on the fence, Ross.
Yep, okay. Now we know. Slater down, but it's stolen by Taylor. That's probably the way to go. Just ruck to it. Taylor again.
Ooh.
Back comes Holland. Plunkett, nice gather.
Kick the goal.
Doesn't quite pull around on the left foot. 2 goals, 1 to Phil Plunkett.
Good little player.
Divides.
He is a left-footer, Plunkett, not a right-footer. Why did I get that wrong? He must have been kicking on the right foot before.
Disney to McCartney to Tranquilli. The long left foot kick. He's gone long each time after that earlier error. Man from behind fists it over the boundary line for a throw-in. We might take this time to update you on what's happening in the AFL at the moment at the MCG. 10 minutes into the second term. The Bombers 4-2-26 over the Tigers 3-4-22. And at Cardinia Park, or Shell Stadium if you like, it's the Cats over the Hawks 5-6 to 5-4.
Jason Smith warming up for Box Hill, not Don King's son. Comes from Vermont. He's eager to get on.
Chance now for the Knights. Bonadio's got it and he's on the break. Had a bounce. Kicks inside 50. Plunkett charging out. Got it again.
Good man.
Oh, he's having a terrific game up forward. Kick to himself, set one other up. Now he's on the break. Centres the pass. Perfect. Oh, the mark should have been taken. Wasn't. But the Mustangs still under plenty of pressure. The man who dropped that mark was Penn. Now a chance for Shane Mitchell from 45 out directly in front. Decides to go short. And now Penn can get a chance at some redemption. So as we tick into time on, the Knights lead by 7 points and a chance to extend on that here.
Well, they're having a go, aren't they? And Box Hill are all over the place. And Plunkett is really giving them something at full forward.
He certainly is. Here's Matthew Penn to kick his first. Straight through the middle. So Preston have kicked 4 goals to 1 in this second quarter. And after trailing by 6 points at quarter time, they're now up by 13, opening up a handy break with about 6 or 7 minutes of the first half remaining.
Here's the build-up.
Doing it easily, aren't they?
Unattended was Penn. So 13 points, close to half-time here at Cramer Street. Magnificent conditions. Hayward in the ruck now. Clark in the ruck for the Knights up against Slater. Trying to work something more in the centre square. Hasn't cleared yet. Brebner, a bit quieter today. Had a great game against North Ballarat. Good kick. Gone fairly wide, but found his man Jenkins. Little half kick. Nicely done into Parthenides off the bench too. So both sides ringing a free changes close to half-time. Emil Parthenides. Trying to redress the balance. The deficit, 13 points. Former Sydney Swan. Kicks truly. Good credentials from him. And if he struck for me, certainly wouldn't be sitting on the bench.
Oh, you got Giannopoulos, Parthenides, and I think the author of Zorba the Greek is in town this weekend. I heard that on Radio National the other day. Parthenides, that is a beautiful goal.
Thanks for the culture part of the afternoon, Phil. 5-10 plays 5-3. Knights by 7 points. Important phase coming up before half-time. The bounce wasn't a good one. The Mustangs players were all over their Preston opponents, but Preston managed to try and get it away. But Collings is there for the Mustangs. Tranquilli finds Brewer towards half-forward. Got to read this nicely, does Hayward, and he does just that. That's a good pass. Although they've missed a couple of marks they should have taken. That time it was Gibson out there. As you see, the Box Hill bench eagerly looking on. Knights by 7 points.
Did you hear the word on Georgiadis, Roscoe, by any chance? How bad the knee injury?
Yes, knee reconstruction.
It was.
We talked about that pre-match. So very sad for him.
Out for the season, I think we were told pre-match. Here's Gibson. Brewer riding his hammer. Brewer drags him away. Gibson was hovering over the ball, so it was deemed illegal. And we'll have another throw in on the outer side. Centre wing outer side in the sunshine at Cramer Street. There's Gay on the bench, having come off a short time ago, having a rest the ruckman prior to half-time. Now from the throw-in, Slater palmed it away. Damon Clark was alongside of him. Brebner dragged off it. Ugly passage of play.
Phil, I'd never be... He's never a ruckman, but you would think Clark and Gay would stand at the back from Slater and try and jump.
Yeah, no,
both standing next to him. He's going to kill him. He's just too tall and too strong. Here's Clark taking a run now.
And then
he gets
didn't take a long enough run up. Slater palms it down. Holland caught. Had it knocked away. Brebner charging in. Penn held without it. No. Brewer. Oh, great slick handball to Sakura. Here go the Mustangs. Kick towards full forward. Waiting under it. Wilkinson's got it. Onto the left this time. Wilkinson wraps it around his body too much. Giannopoulos getting back. Couldn't get it. Still the Mustangs a chance. Oh, Bonadio went straight past it. Collings took it, but misses. Box Hill blowing a chance there to squeeze one back in the shadows of half-time.
You saw Darren Wilkinson when the ball finally went his way. He looked very, very tentative, didn't he? Even as he kicked the ball, he didn't look like a player with confidence.
Bonadio about to kick the ball back. 24.5 minutes, so can't be going working on the first quarter with 4 goals. We've had 6 this quarter. It's just a minute and a half to go to half-time. Looking forward to the Preston Knights ladies afternoon tea. Big sponge. Phil's left me a little bit. And Bernice McDonald, who usually works as not well. All the best, Bernice. The Knights are in front. You'll be happy about that. And Christian Pascoe has the ball centre wing. He calls Clark for the lead and then kicks to Haberman. Back to Pascoe, finessing. Oh, man was coming in for the Shepherd. Pascoe, well, he's picked up 3 possessions. Zorzi up and under. Pascoe does the ground. Could be helpful. No, he won't be pinned. Would have been a bit stiff.
We should have had the camera on Phil. He's just shaking his head as if to say, gentlemen, what are you doing?
Oh, dear.
I don't know. It's got me beat at times, some of this, but...
Pascoe, 5 kicks, 8 handballs, Phil.
4 of them on that first play.
You're trying to have a shot at me, aren't you?
No,
you
never.
just turn
Never.
the key.
Winding you up.
Clark against Slater. Slater flicks it down. Haberman, good handball. Gibson had to go quickly. Plunkett charging down, won't reach this one. Brewer flew. Now Smith had it, lost it. Collings, and another short quarter. 25-53 this time as the fellas say good day to one another on the stroke of half-time. Always a dangerous situation. The umpires have to ensure that feelings don't run too high, given that they can't just go on and bounce the ball, and the umpires do well right there. That's our score at half-time. We have had some absolute thrillers over the course of the opening 5 rounds of this season in the VFL competition, and it's shaping up as though we're going to have another close one this afternoon. So stay with us wherever you might be watching throughout Victoria or southern New South Wales. Footy on your ABC on a Saturday afternoon, and we could have a good one. There are the details. Preston with 1-7 in the opening term, 4-3 in the second quarter. Box Hill 2-3 in the second term. The Knights by 6 points at half-time, and Phil Plunkett has been the target up forward with a couple of goals. He's set one up as well for a teammate, while Giannopoulos has kicked 2 for the Mustangs. Before we go back to Bev, Phil, your thoughts on the opening half?
Well, look, it's interesting, isn't it, that Preston do not have the tools. You would think with Box Hill's tools, with someone like Slater, they would be winning the ball with ease. Slater gets the ball down, but they're not really taking it anywhere. Both sides have been crisscrossing, and that's creating problems. But you're dead right. She's going to be tight this game. There will be nothing in it at the finish, so stick with us because we have got the close one. It'll be a thriller right down to the final bell. They're starting to lift their play a bit. They're trying to create play, but they're getting a few things wrong, the players. But that's partly because they don't have targets. When you've got 2 sides without targets, this is often what happens. But she's going to be an interesting one in the second half, Beverly. I don't think you'll have time to do any plot plans after half-time. I can guarantee you that.
So the fans get their hot dog. Mitch goes for a Panadol at half-time. Preston 5-10, Box Hill 5-4.
All the information. I'm not sure we need to know it, folks, and it's good to see you describing the game as a she, as the gender-specific female. Phil and Clinton standing by. I think they've cleaned off their seats and they're wiping down their mouths. Ready for a very close one, lads?
We certainly are, Bev. Thank you very much for that, dobbing us in about that food again. No, we enjoy our time here at the VFL, that we feel every week. And we've got another close game, haven't we? It's 5-10 to 5-4 at half-time. The Knights up by 6 points and really nothing in this contest.
No, not at all. There's certainly an even sides. It's really interesting when you try to analyse the way sides are playing and what the reason. You know, we always look at particular sides, talk about the culture of the game. There's certainly a preponderance of youth in this particular outfit, these two outfits, and it's sort of affecting the way they're playing. They need a touch of experience. I wonder if Ross Booth thinks the same.
Down to Roscoe.
Well, I wouldn't like to disagree with you, Phil. It's easy to say yes. So, yes, Phil. No injuries on either side, both saying they're clear of injuries, although when I put it to the Box Hill officials that Darren Wilkinson was about 80% fit, they didn't disagree. So it's kind of a groin/hamstring, if you know what I mean.
What about that breeze, Ross?
Breeze virtually nil, just a little bit to the left of screen, perhaps a goal in it.
So second half underway. The Knights by 6 points. Isn't that man, number 7 for the Knights, played pretty well. Bonadio. Knights heading forward to start the second half, although the Box Hill defence hasn't been bad. Nichols played pretty well across the opening half. Bring you the stats on the opening half shortly. This is Slater. He's been impressive as well, although he backed himself to run away there and didn't get it. Individually to half-time, Pascoe 13 possessions for the Knights, Haberman with 8, Mangan with 11 as you see the team stats, Tranquilli with 12 possessions, Brewer with 15, Slater with 10 on the opening half. 8 free kicks to 0. Now statsman Paul Field still without, can't find one for Preston. There's another one to Box Hill. That makes it 9-zip. Holland drives towards centre half forward. McCartney arrives, gets there. Box Hill players streaming forward. Sikora running into space. McCartney pops it out towards both he and Gershman now. Sikora will finish it up with a goal. Yes. What a start, the Mustangs. And Phil, we're tied in the VFL match of the day.
Well, what would you expect? The games have all been like this, Clinton. Scripted well, players sticking to the script, Roscoe, making sure that our massive viewing audience across Victoria is on the edge of the seat throughout the whole game. And Sikora here, just over the back of the pack, slips it through.
Good kick.
Really,
Dacos like grub it home.
Beautiful stuff. And Sikora, I don't know, where would that name come from, Roscoe?
A bit Italian, do you think?
Not sure. That K doesn't look very Italian to me. European, I would say. The Dacos connection is what I'm alluding to, Clinton.
I love Phil asking us at half-time off air, did you watch the, what was it, the Irish Symphony Choir during the match or something on television? As if either of us were going to answer in the affirmative.
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor is just fantastic. And Mary Black, who's going to be in town soon. And, of course, in a couple of weeks, the cast of Sea Change will be down at Williamstown talking up close and personal to one and only Ross Booth.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Brewer through the middle, down at Pearl Bay. Inside 50, strong mark to Granger. Film star name. Thumps it to the wing. Bit of shepherding off the ball by Gay, allowed Taylor to take the mark uncontested. He got rid of Slater. Side steps around Gershman. Into the corridor. Pascoe. Strong mark. Oh. Against Preston. Bit stiff, I think. I just think he used the body, really. But we may see it again.
There's a bit of nudging.
Even I, Phil, think that wasn't a free. I'm usually pretty hot on it. Holland with a kick. Kicking with the left foot. Up to Wilkinson. Strong mark. The captain. He's on centre wing. He puts it into the corridor. Jenkins didn't realise it was coming his way, but realised just in the nick of time to take the mark. Often plays in defence, but he's still on a half-forward flank. It appears still to be there. Moves to jump. Yeah, into a very, very slight breeze. He's only kicked 9 goals in his career at Box Hill. But quite will it get the distance? No, who's front and square? It's over the line for a minor score.
See, Ross, though, you call it there just in a perfunctory kind of way, the front and square, but it's so true, isn't it? There was no one there. And of course you should sit in front of the pack there.
So Mustangs by a point now. As we watch Bonadio on the clearance. This is Smith. Now Tranquilli, usually good disposal. Centers it there to that hot spot area. It could set up the Mustangs for a chance. Wilkinson touched off the boot. Behind anyway.
Oh, isn't the game of footy sometimes a bit scary, Clinton? In that collision, those players, you often wonder how they actually survive, don't you? Like, so physical. And
that youngster says, yeah, I agree with you, Phil.
He hasn't got to try it out yet, but I'm sure he will at some stage.
Bonadio. The Knights took it wide back into the corridor pretty early to Taylor. Pascoe 3 in front of him. Back to Tyrone Taylor. Rowe, a good tackle. Turnover. Well worked, Box Hill. How's Wilkinson? Steady. Still evading the tackles. Back towards Tranquilli. And Haberfield off the boot. And a throw in.
He's making the Titanic look like a yacht on Port Phillip, Roscoe.
Not on the Melbourne to Osaka, rather.
With the turning circle. He's struggling, Darren Wilkinson, but the captain, they feel he must play. Lovely work by Slater, but it was in close. Thrown out by Gay, and he tackled high.
The ironical cheers from the fans for their first free kick.
They've been counting as well.
Gay towards the wing, rather. Good pass. Damon Clark sends it out wide, very wide. And, Gibson did well to keep it in. Good play. He centers it. Plunkett bumping away. Couldn't get it. Still a chance, though. Snapping on goal is Frost. But back there is Disney on the last line of defence. He often is anchored. And he goes quickly towards McCartney. Just in the nick of time. Takes the mark. Beneath the scoreboard, which shows Box Hill 42, Preston 40. Kick up towards the wing. Gliding over the top, Jenkins takes his 4th mark. Wants to go quickly. Forward line is open. Delivers to Wilkinson nicely. Takes it on his chest. Wide open forward line. Men streaming down. Holland waiting under this. He's got the set. He's got the mark. Now he's got men running forward as well. Got to go. Holland from 50 metres out. Kicks deep to the square. And, no mark. And it's over for a boundary throw in left forward pocket.
Well, he had no one in the square. There was no one for 40 metres. If he'd kicked it quickly, the goal would have been unguarded.
Well, they're on this side, on the commentary box side, the players streaming down. It was a little bit tricky for him to have to put it out there, but didn't quite come off.
Gerstmann.
Oh, that did!
Gerstmann out of the ruck. Ablett-like goal. Box Hill on the charge. This quarter kicking 2-2-0. They lead by 8 points. That's exciting, Phil.
Yes, that's a ripper goal. We saw him in that game a couple of weeks back, and he did some big things, really, didn't he? He got Ross Booth very excited occasionally in the game. Look at that. Took the ball there.
Beautiful.
And slipped it on the left boot. That is super football.
Highlight of the day.
Game's gone up a notch, though. I think they hurt us in that first half. I think the coaches probably said, we're giving them the needle, Roscoe. Or you actually went and dobbed us in probably at half-time, more to the point, because they're really up and running now.
Never. Gay, unfavoured by the bounce. Straight to Tranquilli. Possession error. Haberfield dropped it. Nickel kicks it really in Preston's direction. McCartney's after it. It comes off the boot and he just runs it towards the line.
But again, Clinton, we talked about the small players. Hard for these small Preston players to keep up that momentum, especially when you're wasting a lot of the ball and you're not getting a return from it in the first half. Will that be how the game goes?
The Mustangs lead, and now Slater into Tranquilli, who's beginning to win a bit of the ball. Long kick towards Wilkinson. Granger spoiling. Bonadio held, not awarded the free kick. That'll be right, so the Preston supporters. Down goes Hallinan. Bonadio looking for a free. They should try and grab the ball. Jenkins just misses.
So the fans watching on, seeing Box Hill turn around a 6-point halftime deficit to a 9-point lead. Early stages of the third term. Now a chance for Taylor to clear for the Knights. Towards Gay, couldn't take it. Brewer does well. Smith has a man short. That's Wilkinson. Goes over his head. No, that's okay. Wilkinson stabs it into the pocket. Good pass. Now, Aberfield. This is Rowe. I'd suggest too far out to score, or certainly right on the edge of his range. Crowded forward line, might just pop it up to the edge of the square. His first kick of the day for Rowe. Has he got a 50-metre kick in him to start? Well, he has, but it's not an accurate one. And it's out to the right for a behind. Box Hill pressing now. Margin is 10 points.
Box Hill pressing Preston. Clinton. 10 minutes in. Milne goes short off the bench to Hayward. Wilkinson short to Taylor. Nice vision. Beautifully executed hand pass. Bonadio. They've gone wide. He keeps along the line. Doesn't bring it into the corridor. Sport away from Crowley, who's on two. There's the captain of the Mustangs, moved out to centre half forward. He's had a good quarter so far, trying to lift his side and put them in front after trailing at half time. Clark tries to get the front position against Slater. A good contest that time. Clark starting on the bench. Bounce by umpire Michael Forbes. There's Clark, 29, but Slater did well. Looking for Tranquilli. Taylor into the path of Zorzi. With him Frost. Brewer in the way. In possession, slaps it out defensively. Advantage to Mangan. Beautiful left foot kick. Across the face of goal. We know he can finish. Stuart Mangan.
So the margin 9 points now. The pivotal term last night at the MCG in Friday Night Football was the third as the Saints beat Carlton. Will it be our case here this afternoon? Brewer towards Smith. Bounce didn't really favour him, but he follows up nicely. Bounces off Gay. Gets the footy back again. Kicks towards half forward. Wilkinson will mark. As Giannopoulos streaming forward, Jenkins as well. Wilkinson, he goes very, very wide. Chasing it down, though, is Jenkins, and that's a good mark. As he just about leaves us as well. But now, the proverbial impossible angle. He'll no doubt look to pass this off. Just pops it up to that hot spot region, hoping for a mark or a crumb at a goal. Gersman couldn't get it. Working hard, Parthenidis on the snap with a left. Another Box Hill chance goes astray. Another behind. Emil Parthenidis.
Just looking a bit stronger than Preston at the present time, forcing the ball forward, still a bit wide at times.
Granger. Gibson wanting the hand pass. Granger ignores him. Up to the wing, Nicol in good position. Oh, and coming from the side, Wilkinson. Gee, having a great turn. Haberfield kicks just in the nick of time ahead of Taylor. Jenkins marks. Well, he's having a good turn too. Bit of strength up overhead, Phil, and moving around.
Wilkinson, maybe he's just run himself into a bit of, well, I mean run himself into a form, but a bit of confidence, Ross. Maybe he's a bit worried about the injury earlier. Now he's gotten over that. We're laughing about his movement, but he looks better now.
Yeah, and more space out at half forward. He's really lifted. Jenkins going for goal, but just missing.
Gee, they could have buried them already.
Yeah.
Well, look, it is hard for Wilkinson being stationary there, Roscoe. You know, when you're just trying to get yourself into the game and he's there, use it body on body. But yeah, he's had a free run out around the half-forward line. It's made a big difference.
3 behinds in the quarter to Jenkins.
2 goals, 6 for the Mustangs, letting them off the hook. This is Ross Mann. Handball had to be precise. Penn set on his backside, rides the bump beautifully in the end. Feeds the hand pass out for Mangan on the non-preferred right boot, and it shows as Brewer is back there to mark. Switches towards the grandstand side. Aberfield is going to keep it down the wing. Wilkinson charging at it again. Got it. He's stepping up. Now Wilkinson with the most unorthodox kick you'll see this season, but it comes off. Perhaps not as intended, but he'll say it was. Slater towards centre half forward. Working in front, Bonadio. They needed that. Now, just for something different, they go out wide. Gibson, he's a direct player. Pascoe, good mark. Can they try and string something together that would really hurt Brendan Mason, the coach of the Mustangs? If Preston sweep it forward and kick a goal. Gay, they're just chipping it around like a game of chess here at the moment. Getting within range, Gay rides the bump, handball off, Mangan on the left, could finish. Then again, maybe not. Out on the full, just as they were pressing, Stuart Mangan 1 goal, 2, and 1 out of bounds now.
Dooley switches play. Slater having a field day, really. Sikora, little chip to McCartney in the centre square, just inside. Looks like wearing runners, but just lightweight footy shoes for pace. Kicks to half forward. Wilkinson flew pretty confidently, and 1 player's down and up again. In goes Milne for the Knights. It's shrugged away from Giannopoulos. Pushed forward by Hayward. Holland grabs it. In support, Brebner looking for the free. Nice pick up, Gibson. Backward step, a la Robert Harvey. Kicks to half forward, but pretty wide, but finds Pascoe. Wanting to feed it off, nowhere, looks. Clark's calling for it, stretch, son, and you've got it, but he couldn't. It was a bit high for him. Plunkett on the non-preferred foot, goes for the hand pass. Oh, no chance at all for Smith, for the Knights. And Smith, makes it hard work. That's holding the ball, is it? No chance, no prior opportunity for Brewer, but Smith made it hard for Brewer.
I don't know how I ever came to the notion that he was a right footer. I was dreaming for sure. Must have been sidetracked or something, because you saw there with Plunkett when he got on that right side, he was going.
Traumatic experience of falling in front of the television, Phil, and waking up and seeing strange things on the screen after midnight.
Must have been it.
Bounce on 50, punched inside by Zorzi. Plunkett, caught by a couple, manages to throw it away. Frost, twisting, turning, snapping, missing. Another one out of bounds.
Well, it would have been a brilliant goal if he kicked it. He slipped through everything.
Preston
parted.
5 goals, 11, and 3 out of bounds on the full. As Disney decides to play on, they're going to think about switching it wide to the outer side. Tranquilli does just that. Have a couple of teammates out there. Dooley is one of them. He shorts it. Nickel still on half-back are the Mustangs, leading by 11 points. A little stab pass. That's okay. Sikora, they're building their possession count. Everyone else stagnant, though, as Sikora looks upfield. No movement. Now he just bombs it up towards Wilkinson. He's been a target for them this quarter. Couldn't take the mark there. Collings sent it towards the boundary line and over for a throw-in. Score update in the AFL at the MCG. The Bombers by 18 points as we look at the Box Hill bench. Essendon 9-4, 58. Richmond 6-4, 48 minutes into the third term. And down at Geelong, it's the Hawks over the Cats by a point, 8-9 to 8-8, 7 minutes into the third term in the AFL today.
Beautiful day here at Cramer Street, and tomorrow as Matthew Penn puts the Knights to half forward. Plunkett on a lead. Couldn't gather. Chance wasn't by Frost, it might have been Mitchell or Frost. And another behind. 5-12 now, the Knights. Peppering the goals, but not enough majors. Yeah, some great games tomorrow. Point Gellibrand, their first home game against Sandy. And Frankston, Port at Frankston.
That'll be a beauty, that game. Port Melbourne doing so well, and Frankston surprising everyone. Younger side under Robbie Mace.
Beautiful kick in, hit McCartney on the chest to Tranquilli. This is better footy, down the middle towards centre half forward. Jenkins has good hands, almost had it that time, but not quite. Preston's still under the pump. Wilkinson has stepped up this term, working there against Milne. Here's a go, Giannopoulos. Great handball, Giannopoulos to Brebner. Don't tell me he's missed it. I reckon he snuck it through for a goal. And how did that happen, Phil? They went straight down the middle, didn't they? And in a flash, it's an attack. Brebner finishes off. Good handball, Giannopoulos. Box Hill out by 16 points now, and that is the biggest lead in the game.
But Clinton, you're dead right. Going straight, but look at how the handballs, look at the handballs here. Once we see one, it'll arrive shortly, believe me.
Wilkinson has dragged off it. There's one handball to Giannopoulos. That came from
on
Simpkin.
The move.
There's the second.
Nice and straight, not overdoing it. Player mobile, heading in the right path. Getting the geometry right, isn't it, Roscoe?
Yeah, the angles, Phil. Oh, that was an open-handed slap by Slater. Umpire blinded. Well, let's suppose so. Ooh, strong work. Mill was almost sandwiched. Haberfield can't break that tackle. Clark did a good job in that ruck contest against Slater.
But it is. Angles are really critical in the game of footy. You know, how you set the ball up for a running player. And that's what I was saying before. The Greg Williamses of the world was so good at giving it to a player in the right spot or creating the right spot.
Tranquilly went for the tap. Little push by Jenkins, not penalised. Collings took his eye off it. Over the top, Bonadio. Then the tackle by Gibson, pulling his man off the ball. Almost into time on third quarter. At the bottom, it's Collings. And with the footy now, umpire Forbes.
Slater wins it down with good hands to Tranquilli. He kicks it out into the next street. Tranquilli with 15 kicks, 3 hand passes today.
Sorry, I was going to say the street would be actually on the Epping Railway line. I think that football, Clint. No, you're not a northern suburbs boy. Are you?
You don't know your southern lines, Phil.
Into time on in the third term. The Knights, can they try and get 1 or 2 goals in time on to get their way back into this contest? Maybe a spark here.
Should have tackled.
Yeah, Collings, that was. Now it gives Preston a chance. Here they go. Haberman drives it towards full forward. Plunkett coming out. Wrestled by Dooley. Ross Mann well tackled. Didn't have it. Didn't have it. Free kick to Ross Mann. Directly in front. 50 metres out.
And he is a dead ringer. Clinton, you remember Graham Anderson played for Collingwood many years ago and also played for Port Melbourne, Roscoe. Yep. Very similar movement, these players, Ross Mann and Graham Anderson, who was a great goal kicker in the AFL and, of course, with the mighty Borough. Man, they need this one, and that's that train I was talking about, Clinton.
I hope they got that footy off it prior to the little kid going after it. Here's Ross Mann. Directly in front. Understatement to say they need this. Right on 50. Misses to the left-hand side.
Well, the approach to the ball, to the kick, was very fluent then by Mann, but he just went to the side. That train, there must be about 6 trains going by. Well, I don't know, you can never get a train into the city in Jeff Kennard's Victoria normally.
Except on a Saturday.
Except when the VFL's on in town, they look at it and say, where are they going this week, the boys?
We'll fix that Cleary up for giving us a bake.
McCartney kicks wide. Brewer trying to make up for giving the free kick away. Didn't really cost them. Mill certainly goes hard at it. At half-back, wide to Penn, in short to Taylor, strong mark in front of McCartney. Originally from Baruga, Phil. You know where that is?
I do. I recruited a bloke called Alexander. No, Baruga. Now tell me, is that over the border?
Yes, from Cobram.
Yes, I think that's the place.
Gibson.
Said with such authority, we believe him every step of the way.
Inside 50, but deep into the pocket. Collings won't be paid that mark. Tackled over the line, might get the benefit of the doubt. He looks for it.
Well, it was near there anyway. We chewed grass with a farmer there one day back in about 1984 trying to recruit a bloke called Mick Alexander. But I don't think it was Baruga, but I don't think it was far away from there, probably within 100 miles.
As long as you're only chewing it, Phil.
Slater palms it down. Chance still for the Knights, however, that's a good tackle applied by Haberfield on Taylor, and he will be rewarded. Sean Haberfield, free kicks running, 10-3 in favour of the Mustangs, who lead by 15 points, 23 minutes gone, third term. Can he go any wider? Nickel leading into the pocket, the back pocket that is, takes the mark. More direct this time. Target is Disney. Oh, the top. Do they play that for Granger? No. Local fans not happy. They wanted it. Close to the boundary line and over. They're getting excited in the stand, and why not?
5 players down.
Here it is again. Make up your own mind at home. Was this a mark to number 14, Granger?
No.
Okay.
Hit the deck.
From the throw-in, lock the commentary box door. They don't like Ross anymore. Here's a go for the Knights, taken by Clark. Kick towards Plunkett over the top. Couldn't get it. It was touched. We've had a lot of those today. Still a chance, though, for the Knights. If the ball bounces for them, it does. Taylor feeds it inside. Great work. Gay goal.
Got it.
Boy, did they need that, and all of a sudden, it's a ball game again. That keeps them alive. It wasn't pretty, but it's effective in the end, and it's just a 9-point game now, and Phil Box Hill have dominated this quarter, but it's only 9 points.
Well, they just keep having a go, Preston. You can't deny them that. Mark Williams has really got them hard at, and we said they've had a couple of close games. Had a draw with Sandy. They took Port to a couple of points, 2 points. That's a big performance against the side touted as a real big premiership possibility. So they'll stick in there, Roscoe.
Yes, and they came back against Sandringham when it was all over at Trevor Barker Oval. So they've got some fight. Clark, well, made a contest at least. It wasn't a clear win to Slater, and they lock it up. I think he's doing a bit better against Slater. Is Damon Clark, 29. And Slater just cannily walks over to the same side now, and which he can, to take the run of Clark, and wins it beautifully. Holds him away with the right hand, wins with the left. Really impressive today. Charging through, Bonadio finds his man, O'Penn, got the fumbles.
Get it over!
Crowley.
Run!
Simon Taylor can kick well, and he goals.
He doesn't.
Doesn't. Well,
that's why I said run, Ross. He should have gone. Didn't he, Clinton? He had about 30 metres, and there were 2 of them there. They could have talked to each other and said, off you go. You must stitch those up. Kicking from 35, 40 when you can kick from 20.
They haven't won a game this season, and that would have been right on the stroke of three-quarter time. That is costly. Simon Taylor will hang his head as he walks towards Mark Williams, because with just 1 quarter to play, that was another short term, 25-39. So the timekeepers have an appointment this afternoon that they have to meet. Very short quarters today. Not one of them have reached 26 minutes. That's the situation with 25 minutes to go. We have had close ones all season. Box Hill now 8-10-58. Preston 6-14-50. 8 points the difference with a quarter to play. Phil, you'd probably back Box Hill, but the way that quarter ended, Preston clearly on top over the last 5 minutes.
Well, let's be candid. It was pretty boring early, wasn't it, in the first half? They're playing all over the place. They've straightened up a bit. They're going harder at it. They've got a bit of momentum in the gate now. They're really real. They realise now that game's truly up for grabs, and the way it's got to be won is to be more direct. There was a great opportunity there for Preston. Wasn't to be. Plunkett there, if he could get a couple in this last quarter, he was good early. He was out of the game that quarter. But you can see the spread of goal kickers. No real talls dominating. Wilkinson coming into the game in that third quarter. We're going to have a great last quarter. They've all been tight, our television games. This one is going to be very, very interesting. Yes, you'd think Box Hill would be just too good, but this Preston side, they go at it, so there'd be a chance, and that's the Box Hill side there.
So with a quarter to play, the Mustangs by 8 points. Box Hill 8-10-58. Preston 6-14-50. Bev, which way is your dollar going on this, the outcome of this one?
Oh, I won't hazard a guess at this stage. We've been very tight, as you know, and the lead has swung backwards and forwards, so we'll wait and see. But a very interesting final quarter to come up. Let's rejoin the team at Cramer Street for the final quarter, and we're in the Box Hill huddle there.
Yes, we certainly are, Bev. We're going to head down to listen to their coach, Brendan Mason, former Eastern Rangers coach in his first year with the Mustangs. Let's listen in.
First option, the first space, and getting it long. Wilco gave us something around centre half forward. Lukey Jenkins gave us the mobile tall. Lukey, where are you? Yeah. Okay, will you keep moving around? He doesn't want to know you. He wants to lay off you and kick chase, but you keep moving around and give us the foil for Wilco, Jimmy Gershman in the 10-yard square. That's going to take pressure off those boys. It's going to give us another option to kick to, and it's going to take another player out of the space to keep moving around. Gave us a good contest, but you've got to finish. You've got to make sure you finish and hurt and put the scoreboard pressure on them. Good back there, Bongo. Yep. With that scenario, give it 48 and 19, you've got to make that switch. Okay, don't want you filling the hole, and you leave Colo on number 19. Colo takes 19 shots into running factor out, and you pick up number 48 coming through. Emil, you've got to work good, back in the play, a couple of contests, okay, you've got to work now and give us that option, really promote yourself, okay, in that particular area. Jace, Matty Brewer, I thought your two reading role plays, Anthony McCartney and yourself back on the half-back flank with your vision and running off. Okay, accountability for your player was great, but giving us good use of the footy coming through the midfield. And you shutting down number 17. We're telling parts of kicking us back into the quarter. But now it's coming back our way. Dizzo, yes. Just you're kicking you're kicking out great targets. But with that sort of kicking out, what we need to do is really cash in on it. We're catching them out, get the overload overlap happening, move it quick in that scenario to our tools one out and really put the pressure on them because we've got them going back the other way. You've got it coming back your way, okay? Similar situation to where we found ourselves in the last couple of scenarios. It's come back your way, but the work pressure now has to start off in the first 5 minutes. We keep clearing it out of the centre bounces. If the job roles have been allocated, if players are really prepared to enter the pain barrier, get out of their comfort zones and really just keep working themselves hard out of the pain barrier and continue to shut down those players when they're controlling the footy.
Brendan Mason talking about breaking the pain barrier for the Box Hill boys as we check some of the highlights of the third term, a quarter where Preston kicked 1 goal for, that goal coming late at the 24-minute mark, but Box Hill kicked 3 goals, a couple of them earlier on, including Shane Sikora, who grubbed one home for his second goal of the afternoon. They had other goals to Brebner and Gersman, and when they went direct, Phil, they certainly looked far better. This was a great one. Gersman out of the boundary throwing.
Yes, well, it hasn't been the most scientific game, but they don't have to be to get you excited. When they're tight, they're tight. You've got good conditions for the game, a lot of young players, a couple of senior players or seasoned players, and there's one of them, Darren Wilkinson, moved out to centre half forward. He didn't look fit to us playing it around the goal square, but gee, when he moved out, he went much better. Brebner, we saw him a couple of weeks ago down at Box Hill when they just went down to North Ballarat, the Mustangs. He was exciting. He is an exciting player. And Preston, well, they keep going at it. This one, how can you believe this? How this bobbed out for Gay and he just banged it through. And it looked like they were on the march again, and they had another chance just prior to that, Clinton, and they didn't get it. And you've got an abundance of statistics there to run past me.
As we have a look at the team stats, Box Hill with more possessions, as you can see. Tranquilly with 18 possessions, Brewer with 18, Slater with 16, including 11 hand passes, Nickel with 10 possessions, Bonadeo with 16 possessions for Preston, likewise Pascoe, likewise Taylor. They're getting plenty of the ball. Mangan has 13. The hit-outs, Box Hill dominating with Slater 21-10. Let's go down to Ross Booth on the boundary line. He was listening into Mark Williams, coach of Preston.
Yeah, Preston Knights camp quite enthusiastic, breaking up into those 3 groups again. It was typical. But Mark Williams, one of the main things he was saying was instructions, Phil, 1 hand pass through midfield and then a long kick into the forward line. So certainly instructions from Mark Williams are not to frit around with the ball. Breeze, a bit across the ground, I would say, hardly any advantage, if anything, to the left of screen. Box Hill have it.
Thanks for that, Ross.
I think I'll have to go back to coaching, Ross.
Get some fire and brimstone out there. Well, not an understatement to say almost a mini elimination final, even at round 5. Neither of these two sides have had a win on the season. They need something. Smith in trouble, lost it. Might have some support from his teammates. Oh, Haberfield played for the free there and did it well and gets the free.
Clinton, that strategic handball stuff I was talking about, there was another example, wasn't it? Handball to a player in pressure has got to go around another player. It's just a matter of thinking the game out a little.
This is Smith. This time he decides to go with the kick. Didn't look all that pretty, but finds its intended target in Slater. He goes long. Inside the 50. Wilkinson was back there. And it partially blocked away by Zorzi. Boundary throw in on the outer side. No, out of bounds on the full in the end. It's going to go the way of Box Hill. Or is it? We'll wait. They're waving their arms all over the place like traffic policemen. We're going to throw it in. No one really knows, so let's just do the fair thing and get it to throw in. We've got our umpires out there. That was Michael Forbes working with Davin Reed and Russell Davidson. Here's the throw in.
At least they had a conference and sorted out. That's all we want, Clinton. Then they're nice and clear. In the old days, it was a raffle.
It was. Tranquilly, the handball out to Holland. Handball to Brebner. That was good. Shrugged the tackle nicely. First goal going to be important this last quarter. Chance, though, for the Knights to clear. The bounce hasn't really favoured the forwards of either side. Mangan dropped it, threw it away. No free kick. Haberfield there. Underground hand pass was pretty good in the end. Parthenidis kicks towards Wilkinson. Really came into the play in that third quarter. I've spoken a lot about the injury he carried into this game. Was pretty quiet in the first half, but an excellent third term. And there are his numbers, and this would be the ideal start. He's kicked a dozen goals for the season, none today. Box Hill with an 8-point lead.
Stay out, Mingo. Stay the line.
Cribbs about a metre and misses to the right, and it is a behind. He's second on the day. The margin is 9 points. Ross Booth is back with us after signing a couple of autographs on his way back.
Oh, look, they just chase him. The spectators, they think he's so important. Who are you doing up close and personal next week, they call, don't they, Roscoe?
They do. Wilkinson, oh, what a good second half he's having. Umpire Davidson directing traffic.
He's not the longest kick, Wilkinson. He's pretty good in around the 40 mark, but this would be just outside his distance. Would he pluck a big torpedo, Roscoe?
Oh, I reckon he might get the distance with a drop punt. He's had 9 marks and 13 possessions. You might be right, Phil. He's put it very high. Good call, Phil. I bow to your greater experience and knowledge. 9 points the Mustangs lead.
Don't say that. Don't say it.
Don't make me feel that good.
I've got my tongue really firmly in my cheek.
But he's probably, we've seen him kick longer at other times, Wilkinson. But he's about a 40-metre, 45. That was a little bit too far for him. But at least he's back in the game, taking marks.
Gersman grabs it, kicked a great goal in the third quarter. But likewise from Hallinan to Penn for the Knights, out of trouble. Bit of a push, free kick against Collings. Yes. Sorry, Adam, says the umpire. But you did push. Gibson.
4th free kick to Preston for the game. Use it, they say, the coaching staff. They're down by 9 points. Gibson short. Haberman shorts it again. Clark. Precision so far, but no real yardage gained.
See, players, that's what, run past, but not into pressure.
Haberman, couple of bounces, one Shepherd needed to break that tackle. Ross Mann touch of the fumbles at the inopportune time. Handball to Clark, this is better. Plunkett's got 3 to beat. Couldn't get it. Oh, what a grab. Getting back there, is that Nickel? It is. What a good mark. That's courage and all that. Going back into the pack. Oh.
They don't come much better than that on the day that we celebrate the 1989 or reunion of the big grand final, Hawthorn and Geelong, and we saw some real courage in that game, Clinton, and that was a mark in that kind of style.
Certainly was. Dooley will take the kick.
The grand final in May, did they?
The mark was...
Well, they're in the reunion today, Roscoe. Work it out.
The respect for Phil didn't last long. Rowe roves the pack. Handball off to Holland. Here go the Mustangs. Holland drives it deep to full forward. Ball gets punched away. Defence holding up for the Knights. Still under the pump. Gersman knocks it to Eccles. Handball over in front of Brewer. Bounce didn't really favour him. Taylor back there. Missed that key chance late in the third quarter, which really would have helped them. And he forces it over for a boundary throw in. Zorzi out there as well. 9 points the margin. 5.5 minutes gone. Final quarter. A tight one again for just about the 5th week in a row. In our VFL Match of the Day telecast, we're in the bus next week up to North Ballarat. I hope you can join us for that one. From the throw-in. Good chain of handballs. Eccles, Brewer, Smith on the run from 50. Loads it up to the square at the back of the... Oh, Wilkinson not paid, didn't bring it down. Still a chance, Rowe there. Still a chance, Rowe's got it. Big goal. Very important goal. It might just be the backbreaker for the Knights. It makes the margin 15 points. The all-important first goal of the last quarter goes to Brett Rowe, and the Mustangs by 15 points.
Great assist by Wilkinson, wasn't it?
It was after not receiving the mark, Ross, and he could probably mount a claim.
Fights on, doesn't he?
To the mark, but then again, I think the other guy's probably right. That was great. But really, who was at Pascoe, of course, should have taken the ball with him, shouldn't he? When, after Wilkinson tapped it, let it hit his stomach and bounce back, and the goal went through.
6 minutes into the final term. Box Hill, as you can see, by 15. No one can clear the area, and there'll be a bounce from umpire Davin Reid.
Umpire Reid's unplugged. He's lost his microphone, as you can see there. He says, I speak to Phil Cleary no longer. I've had enough of him. Throw it away. In reality, it just came unplugged.
Now, a big contingent of players around the ball. Look at that. One little Slater will hit it to his feet or try and clear the area if he's able to get the tap, but no, Clark won. Down to Smith, thumps it. Wilkinson using the body. Good mark. Great second half 10 marks to Darren Wilkinson, the captain for the Mustangs. He goes for the pass to Holland. That's a row. And Bonadio disappointed that he let his man in front. He's just standing outside the 50-metre line, you can see there, so distance shouldn't be a problem. If this is straight, it'll be 21 points in favour of the Mustangs. Hooks it a bit. I think he's missed. He claps it, but he has missed. So 16 points.
Must get out of the square, Preston, wait for the flag.
I think they're just breaking the Preston spirit now, Roscoe.
Bonadio finds Gibson. The former Hawk goes wide to the outer side. That's okay. Hallinan quiet today towards the wing. Good delivery. Pascoe has been prominent on the wing. Centering ball. Has Haberman in space. Had to wait. Couldn't take it. Recovers well. Need a goal here. Haberman kicks towards Plunkett's lead. He won't get there in time. Oh, that's been plucked out by Haberfield. Well done. Handball off to Disney. Back from whence it came. Pascoe over the top. Squares it up for Gibson. They send it back inside 50, hoping for a mark. The target is Plunkett over the top. He got upstairs, couldn't get the mark. Hurried forward by Frost, and Penn's got it. Well, Penn's made 1 or 2 errors today, but he's got a chance here to get it back to a 10-point game.
Got to tell you what, if Plunkett had taken that grab, that would have been an absolute blinder. God, wasn't he up off the deck? But still, it's bobbed out there. Frost just getting a foot to the ball. God, they need this one.
Oh, they do, don't they? It would make it 10 points. And he misses. He just stabbed at it. Misses to the right-hand side. He's kicked 1-2. And 1 out of bounds. We're running late, we're running early, three-quarter time of the AFL matches. The Bombers 10-10-70, Richmond 9-9-63, and Geelong 11-11-77. Hawthorn 10-12-72. The margin's 7-5, and our margin here is 15. It should have been 10, Ross.
A lot of instruction from Mark Williams at three-quarter time for Preston to make sure he kicked the goal, so I guess that's adding to the pressure. Penn feeling under pressure.
The one before three-quarter time, Roscoe, and that one don't help.
Nickel held to hold by his teammates. Tranquilly wanting it in the middle, he'll get it. Oh, and a turnover. Very casual. Mangan's a left footer. Space, Mangan. Goal! An off break, Phil. And what a mistake from Andrew Nickel. Couldn't play well. Tranquilly called for it, but the execution was bad. Mangan kicks his second. And the margin is back to 9 points.
Yes, and that's about the 4th train in the last quarter, I reckon, Roscoe. That one is going out the back of us right now. But what a goal there. Nickel making the blue. Wow, God, that doesn't happen very often when you get them that bad. We go way back to Gubby Allen, wasn't it? How many years ago was that where he slipped that one back?
Yes, Simon Beasley came in to take them on. It hurts me to watch that.
That one rivals that.
Oh, it hurts me. And Footscray beat Collingwood at the Western Oval as it was there. What can Preston do here? Will they get the win? Penn the handball. Gibson has Clark. Tranquilly will tackle him. He got him. Handball away. Gibson stepped up in this term.
Yes.
Good pass. Perfect pass. The mark taken by Ricky Frost. Mangan's leading out. Frost goes to him. Mangan in the pocket. Couldn't get there in time. No free kick. Holland running out of room. Handball over. Boundary throw in. Preston surging now. Well,
just thought the umpire was going to pluck a charity just as things got exciting, Clinton. They often do it, Paul. You know that. Wayne Carey gets them, doesn't he?
Paul Field, our statistician, Kangaroos fan, nodding wisely as Gibson overruns it. Collings will head for the boundary line.
I'd do Barry for the Bulldogs too, Glenn. Just remind you to rub it in a bit.
You shouldn't have won that game. That was the day Banks took that screamer, which was on the posters for years to come. What year was that? About 86, 85?
That's long ago.
Throw in, Slater from behind. Gibson knocked it down. Haberman sets it up, has a couple of men waiting. And great mark, Haberfield. She's done a couple of good things in this last quarter.
Oh, he's a little big man, isn't he?
Box Hill hanging on. McCartney caught, gets out of it. Has to be quick now. Kicks to Slater. One hand, couldn't get it. Clark, handball missed the target. Haberman gives it out to his teammate Bonadio. Oh, they're mucking around with it, the Knights, but they've got the pressure on. Plunkett, got it. He's too far out. Gibson all alone should mark, but he's very, very wide in the pocket. Gibson squares it up, risky. Mangan's got it. Well, he could kick this.
He's the best kick in the side, Clinton.
Ideal side for the left footer. Stuart Mangan, been on a couple of AFL lists. He's kicked 2 and 1 out of bounds today, and a goal here makes it a 3-point game. He's had 14 possessions on the day, but none bigger than this.
Well, that website will be looking good there. You'll find his name on it if he kicks this one, Roscoe. It'll be in flashing lights.
Here he goes. The hometown fans love it. The Knights surging back in it. They love it in the grandstand. A 3-point game in the match of the round on ABC.
And I suppose if they do win it, Roscoe, and he gets another one, there'll be a set of coffee Ford keys flashing on that website right there.
Could be. Could be.
But they fiddled around here, but Plunkett, though, Clinton, at least he was quick. He didn't run back and turn his back. He went back quickly with full vision. He slipped it in, and they made the most of it.
And the class of Gibson coming to the fore in this last term.
Indeed.
Up goes Clark, and Clark wins in the ruck against Slater. Well done. A contest from the Knights. He ran in then, Phil, and he jumped. And I guess Slater's tiring a bit. He's rucked solely all day for the Mustangs. Important contest again. 14 minutes. Well, only got about 11 minutes to go. 24 hit-outs to Slater. Haberfield ran strongly. Slews off the outside of the boot. Milnes there for the Knights. Knocks towards the boundary line. Not far enough. Collings. Unloaded. McCartney, no chance to get rid of it. Plunkett tackles him strongly. And the umpire says, I'll have it. 3 points.
Gee, those smothers. We had a dinner with Don Bosco the other night. Alan Jeans was there, and he showed some highlights from '89. It was all smothering, you know, that got him home. But one of the games early in the year, I think, smothering and pressure work.
Clark's ruck work has been good in this last quarter. That time, though, Brebner stole the tip, but Bonadio back there gathers it on half-back. The Knights down by 3 points. Penn needed a good shepherd. Gets it away. On the tear. Box Hill, though, will come up with it through Brewer. He's well tackled by Taylor. Ball spills away. Still working hard. Hallinan in there. Now Clark. Eccles grabbed an arm. Ball ricochets off the knee. Plunkett, the no-look handball. Has a couple of teammates going. Taylor gives it off. This is Holland of the Knights. Handball away. Penn from 49. One-on-one in the square. Mangan getting back there. Bounced through. Was it touched? Oh, Box Hill conceded behind. It's getting desperate now. 2 points in it. Slater on the bench.
Well, what is he, tired, injured? Would you have him off, Phil? They've got Simpkin maybe in the ruck now, because Clark, I think, was beginning to get a bit of ascendancy. So Brendan Mason may have swung the change. Tranquilly. Well, a bit sloppy at the back again, Box Hill. Bit of uncertainty. Disney, half-volley hand pass to Haberfield. Kicks towards Simpkin. Beaten by Mann. Nice pick-up, Simon Taylor. Usually uses it well. Half-volley made Granger work. Out to Mann. He's quick. He uses his pace. He's steady. Shoots at goal. And it's out on the full.
No, it's going to be a whistle. Downfield free, or we'll wait on it to see what they make.
It'll have to go back, I think, because it went out of bounce on the full, Clinton, but he would have paid it down the field.
Yep, so Ross Mann will get it back to shoot from 45.
And I reckon he was lucky too, because that tackle to me looked to be in the play, but did he play it if it was in the back as he kicked? But he seemed to be saying down the ground as if it was after he kicked.
Yeah, OK, well, 2 points, as you can see in the top left-hand corner. The Mustangs lead. But the clock, 16.5 minutes. They've been running about 24, 25, 26 minutes.
The longest one, 25.53.
Ross Mann can put the Knights in front. He has. They've missed so many easy opportunities. Like last night, Ross Mann kicks the goal, and they're in front. Look at the crowd in the stands, Phil.
Well, they've teased us, Ross. I think they played around in the first half. They thought they'd mock us a little bit and then give us something to get really excited about as the clock ticked down. What a tremendous. They will
Here's
see
the
this
kick.
kick I was talking about.
Oh, yes.
And I'm wrong, and the umpire was right. The collision was well after he kicked the ball, and had to go back because it went out of bounds on the full.
Otherwise, it would have been downfield free. Well, I tell you what, this has surprised us, this result, hasn't it? It looked like Box Hill were home and hosed 10 minutes ago when they led by 15 points.
They're not home yet.
But the Knights are surging. Now, the Knights certainly aren't home. Frost on 50. Up against a couple. Tranquilly. Brewer. And it was prominent early. Stolen away by Taylor. Short and wide. Mangan too far underneath it. Disney gave him a shove. No free.
You know, Clint, isn't it interesting, though, how the handballs and that have been in close, but they've all been in the corridors? Like Preston's goals have come out of the corridor rather than fiddling around going wide. Very interesting aspect. It's almost like it's happened unwittingly.
18 minutes gone last quarter. For the 4th week in a row, time on to the last quarter will decide our ABC match of the round. Pascoe. Handball knocked away. Oh, good bump by Smith, and he really has hurt Pitt on that occasion. Pitt's gone down. That was a good hip and shoulder. He gets up very gingerly. You see him there on the centre of your screen, sucking in some deep breaths.
Oh,
here it is again. Bang.
It hurts there. Base of the back.
Knights by 4 points. Clark palms it down.
Tell you what, he's been good,
yeah.
Clinton.
He's really given them some drive in this final quarter. Brebner's been okay today as well. 70 plays 66, the Knights. These two teams looking for their first win of the season. We're at round 5. A virtual mini elimination final with a quarter of the season gone at the end of this round. Here go the Mustangs. Rowe towards half forward. Wilkinson, worn well by Zorzi, forces it over for a boundary throw in.
Gee, only a couple of players in that back 50 there. So Preston players all upfield. Maybe that's part of the reason why they're able to get the ball into the corridor. They're actually using players, getting it a bit tighter.
No pushing, Lockman, no holding.
Clark comes from the left. Slater about to come back on. No. Yes, he is. The Knights go forward. Well, Mustangs go forward. Shot on goal is wide from Paul Eccles, and 20 minutes the clock ticks up to 3 points. The Mustangs trail.
Bonadio to bring it back into play. 3 points the margin, risky at this stage to go short. That's why Gersman will give the lead to Box Hill. In time on in the last quarter, the Mustangs take the lead back. Why go short at this stage of a close game from a kick-in? Gersman gets his second opportunist goal there. Bonadio, well, he had to be so precise with that delivery to Hayward. And Box Hill back in front.
Well, it's almost a replay of what happened at the other end, isn't it? It was a bad kick at the other end, a short pass inboard that cost them a goal. And Preston have done just the same.
Slater back in the ruck, makes a contest, almost stolen by Tranquilli. McCartney grabbed the loose ball, up to Wilkinson. The captain puffs in the breath. He's caught by Zorzi, got away the hand pass. Now, what's the umpire saying? A free to Preston.
Gotta be.
Incorrect disposal.
Yeah, dead set. Good umpiring decision, that one.
And good chase by Zorzi. Maybe he's back in defence. He certainly was lining up at centre-half forward at the three-quarter time huddle. From the side that was read out. Zorzi kicks to the wing. Clark's in front. Up goes McCartney. Good leap. Spoiled Clark. Don't give a free away now. Pitt it is. David Pitt, well, not wanting to lose his cool. Clark again with Slater. Beautifully down to Slater, but right to the feet of Brebner. No chance to clear the pack.
Settle down.
21, nearly 22 minutes. 5 minutes to go at the most. In front of the stand. Cramer Street's rocking. The Knights are back. They've hit the front. They've conceded the lead. They trail by 3 points. Umpire Davidson, a wonky bounce. Tranquilli couldn't get rid of that. And another.
Sort of the mind games being played. You're killing him, Clarkey, up against Slater in the ruck.
Well, it wasn't like that in the first 3 quarters.
No.
But he's done very well in this quarter.
Slater, Eccles, throw it in. Another classic finish. 22.5 minutes gone. Quarters today have been short. There'll be about 4 minutes to go. Man over the top. Breaks the game open. Which way will it bounce? McCartney pushed off it by Plunkett, but McCartney does well. Forces it over. Plunkett appealing for deliberate. No question that it was, but he's not going to get it.
Well, he was given plenty of lip there, Plunkett, because you're right, Clinton. Yes, it was pushed out, and he could have been penalised.
Slater will go against Plunkett, uncontested virtually. Ooh, loose ball. Rowe. Forced it out. Free kick, Preston. Pascoe or Milne will take it. Milne comes up with it. Still a few minutes to go. Preston down by 3 points to go forward now. Milne, a high ball to centre half forward. Mangan there, and over the top, he's got it. Granger. Now, can he kick it from 50? He wants to go. He loads it up. He goes deep to the square. Gibson back there. Couldn't get it behind. It's a behind. It's a 2-point game. 24-minute mark of the final quarter.
Well, they didn't want that, Clinton. They really wanted a chance to kick a goal from inside. Gives Box Hill the opportunity now.
Nearly 24 minutes. Umpire David, he's lost his microphone too.
I'll bring you the score update there for the AFL. The Bombers over Richmond by 19 points at the 12-minute mark of the last term, and Geelong over Hawthorn by 4 at the 14-minute mark.
Big Clark's at the back. Up goes Wilkinson and Slater. Plunkett on the wrong foot. Good effort, but it's all Box Hill, Disney. The sun in his eyes, but he kept the eye on the ball and took the mark, importantly, for his side.
He's got to go this side. He's got Wilkinson, Slater, Tranquilli, all good marking options.
Yeah, let's see. We all go up. Who's at the full? Zorzi at the back. Centres it. Smith and Simpkin. That's Eccles. Eccles goes wide, puts it high. Brewer stretching, and a good mark at half-back to Matthew Brewer.
Played well, this fella, Roscoe.
Coming up on the 25-minute mark of the last quarter. Box Hill.
It's a leading question, Phil.
Lost at the last start by 9 points, did Box Hill. Preston this season have had a draw and a 2-point defeat. They couldn't handle another close one. Giannopoulos' handball stolen away. Pascoe can set the Knights up. They're streaming forward now. Here's Penn on the run. He misses. It's a behind. It's a 1-point game. And Matthew Penn has kicked 1 goal, 3 and 1 on the full.
He needed to get it out to the point of the square if he wasn't going to get the distance, Clinton, because out there the front and square might have resulted in a goal.
Maybe a minute to go. We've played 25.5 on a day with short quarters.
Disney looks for Slater.
Oh, that's
gives it to Brebner. Tranquilli, centre wing. Wilkinson going past, but Brebner's unattended through the middle. Good option from Tranquilli. Long ball, almost. Squeezing it out, no, couldn't. In comes Bonadio, using all his strength. Little give. Zorzi. Granger. Away he goes. Conscious of the clock. Spears it. In.
Mangan.
Left foot. Front. Mitchell's caught with it. Frost caught with it.
He's called a throw.
Good decision. Under pressure, the umpire Roscoe, but it was a one-hander.
Oh, no!
Turnover. Plunkett, little chip. Didn't travel 10, I would have thought. It did, says umpire Davidson. I can't believe it. 26.5.
Get out there and measure that, Roscoe.
It was 5 metres.
If that went 10, I will go he.
It certainly didn't your or he, Phil.
4.5.
Gibson.
This could win it.
He's kicked 1. Not a bad kick, it's Gibson. Now the siren.
It's the draw. It's another draw. Oh, no. Preston have drawn for the second time this year. Can you believe it? A draw and everyone's standing stunned. No one knows what to do. The players haven't even started to shake hands out on the ground. Look at them. They are just stunned. What a finish.
Wouldn't you love to see that last kick there? The actual kick from Plunkett. Did it go the 10 metres? But anyway, it's all done.
It couldn't have.
But probably as that siren started, I don't think he kicked the ball, had he? It started to sound as he ran in. What I'm getting at is he probably should have said, right, bang.
I think he might have just kicked it first because you would have gone back. Oh, it's a draw. Preston, for the second time in 5 matches, have drawn the game. The umpires make their way off. They're getting plenty of advice from the local fans. Preston, though, kicked themselves out of it, kicking 9-19 to 10-13. As you see the umpires make their way off. What a drama-filled contest. That sums it up, doesn't it? This season, Phil, Preston without a win, yet 3 of their matches have been decided by a total of 2 points.
Well, Clinton, they missed a goal running into 4 3/4 time, Preston. They've had the last kick of the game and they've lost it, and they gave away the goal, but admittedly Box Hill did the same, but they gave away the goal to give Box Hill the lead in the last quarter. So they're supposed they're going to look at it and say, we have been a bit stiff. What a fantastic finish. What a phenomenal finish. You have a look at this.
The goal umpires are standing in the middle of the ground. Here's what happened. This is those final dramatic moments. You see Frost running into goal, called a throw. Box Hill get the free kick. Now, Smith told to settle down. The kick by Dooley, and watch this. He goes appallingly short. Now, is this 10? This is the one. Is that 10? Oh, you wouldn't think so because you look at the 50-metre line to where the goals are. I reckon that's about 8.5.
Plunkett had his back turned. He only just turned in time to see the ball land in his hands. There's Plunkett going off now, and he just slipped it on his foot. And, well, amazing. God, we've had some good games on the television.
No better finishes than that. Ross Booth's down with our man of the match, and I think I've just given it away.
You have telegraphed that hand pass very well. Matthew Brewer, our man of the match. The day when we'd like to have 2 sets of keys to give away, but Stan Petty has only got 1. Stan, do the presentation.
On behalf of Coffee Forward, Matt, congratulations. Thanks, Sam. The best on the ground. Due to the Coffee Forward keys of the forward layers.
So I thank Coffee Forward and Vic Safe. Yeah, it's great.
I guess it's kind of an empty feeling, a draw, isn't it?
Yeah. We've had our chances, 16 points up, and couldn't go on with it. And just a couple of skill errors and let us down big time, yeah.
It was a strange kind of game. Both sides seemed to make a lot of skill errors during the afternoon.
Yeah, it was, standard wasn't up. My skills were down a bit, and, I think that's something that we have to improve on, and, to be a real finals contender.
Yeah, but at least it's a win. It's your first, well, not a win, it's a draw, isn't it? So Preston have had two draws, and now you've at least got some points on the board.
Yeah, we heard Preston had a draw, and they're pretty accountable in their numbers, and they really man up, and we were going to be in for a bit of a tough game, but yeah, it's just disappointing to come out with a draw. Good luck before.
Anyway, apart from skill errors from Matthew Brewer, there weren't many skill errors from Matthew Brewer. Vic Safe and Coffee Forward, man of the match for this week.
Thanks very much for that, Ross Booth, down there in Ross. We've got plenty of time to get some post-match interviews as well. One of the earliest finishes of the season, and certainly one of the most dramatic. I can't believe, Phil, that we had the grand final replay up first, which wasn't a bad contest between Springvale and Werribee, but that was the most one-sided game we've had. And then since then, every match we've had has been decided in time on. And again today, this one being decided on the last kick of the day. Gibson shot for goal, a behind, and it finishes with scores all square.
Well, look, we had Coburg a couple of weeks back, and they took Williamstown right down to the line. Then they were crunched by Werribee the other week, so away from the tally they couldn't do it. I mean, it wasn't, and Brewer himself said it wasn't a great skill game, but I mean, that's the game. I mean, sometimes they just aren't that good. You've got a lot of young players fiddling around with the ball. But interestingly enough, when it got tight, they went more direct.
Yes.
They were forced into close quarters, into the corridors, maybe because there was a lot of space early, you got a lot of run in your legs. As they went in tight, and it made it an interesting game.
It certainly did. Where do you think this leaves the Preston Knights, given that they've had 3 matches this year decided by a total of 2 points? They've had, obviously, that draw to Sandringham. They lost to Port Melbourne, who are unbeaten. They lost to them by 2 points. Now another draw. Had they won those 3 games, just a goal on each time, as you see the details today, you know, what about that? What do you think? Preston really, Mark Williams would be so disappointed, the players would be so disappointed that they've had 3 genuine chances to win. In the end, out of all of it, they've only got 2 points for a draw on 2 occasions for a total of 4 points.
Well, I'll answer now because I was so excited I didn't even put my microphone on, but as someone said the other day, you don't need to. You just stick your head out the window and we can still hear in Canberra. So maybe they could hear me at home. But I was just going to say, as you look through, Clinton, that maybe Preston are actually playing particularly well for what they have. Yeah. And maybe Mark Williams is entitled to say that he's getting them up, you know, because he got them up against Port Melbourne, he got them up against Sandy, and he got them up again today when things looked like they were going, you know, awry early. They were going all over the place, really, in a sense, against a bigger, stronger side. So he's got to take credit for that. They've got to pinch the game, you know. Yeah. In the end, you've got to win them. But Ross Booth's got a few interviews and we'll come back to that. But it's an interesting sort of situation.
Ross will head hopefully to both rooms, given it was a draw. He starts at the Box Hill rooms. Ross.
Yes, well, it's like a Morgan here. There's nothing worse in football than a drawn game, especially when you sort of control the game. And Darren, the look on your face tells it all. Very disappointing as captain of the Mustangs to not frit away, but concede a win, which was looking pretty certain, I guess, really. But Preston just didn't give in.
Oh, look, obviously we played for 4 points and don't know what to say, really. Pretty upset. There was a big chance to really win a game, and our game plans to kick the ball long at all costs, especially when you're under pressure, and just too many times we went short, and it probably was our downfall at the end of the game when the pressure was on. Was that because of the pressure from Preston? Oh, definitely. Just that's a game of footy. The pressure's always there, whether it's Preston or Coburg or Williamstown, whatever. Pressure's a big thing, and the guys have got to realise that that's what you've got to play under to win games of footy. Yeah. On your own front there, you sort of struggled a bit in the first half, we thought, but your second half was fantastic. Were you just getting confidence in the injury? You're 100% fit? I'm not 100% fit, but I was 100% able to play today. Yeah. It's just one of those days when the ball doesn't come down early, you're, you know, there's a lot of pressure at full forward. And the ball just wasn't coming my way and things weren't working, so I asked if I could just move up the ground and try to get into the play, and, you know, it worked today, so good for the fitness as well. Yeah, this is the same kind of injury, or there's a chronic long-term? Not, last year it was like an arthritis in the groin. Yeah. This year, or 2 weeks ago, I just had a strain in the same groin, so it was slightly different. They think it was just back-related this time, so it's come up pretty good. Yeah. So, yeah, just go on next week, I suppose. And who have you got next week? Springvale, I think. Yeah, so at home. Hard contest, yes. Well, yep. Disappointing. Thanks, Darren, for talking to us. And here's another player who had a great game, really, today. Adam Slater, the ruckman. You came off at the end, was just a bit tired, or just give you a rest? You knocked up?
I went to back and couldn't get it. You know, went one-handed, couldn't quite get there. Brendan thought at the time would have been better to put a fresher person on, which is probably right. And he gave me a 10-minute spell and I came back on near the end. Yeah. It was very impressive with the use of body work with the hand and feeding it down to the little men. And yeah, well, being a bit older and a bit heavier, it's a bit hard to jump with the younger blokes. So I just try and use my body and get the handballs out if I can. Yeah. So you just have an empty feeling in your stomach at this stage? Yeah, personally for me, it's like a loss. We built ourselves up for a win, you know, get our first win for the year, and 2 points. No, it's really not a lot. No, it's on the board. Yeah, disappointment here. It's very hard for the players. You know, struggle all day. And we might have some highlights, and then we'll see if we can have a chat to a couple of Preston players.
OK, thanks for that, Ross. Ross Booth down there in the Box Hill rooms, about to head over to the Preston rooms. And I think Darren Wilkinson summed it up pretty well there. I don't know what to say. It's so hard coming off a draw. Did you play any draws in your career?
Yeah, I think we did have 1 or 2 along the way. Yeah, you don't know what to say. It's really, really disappointing when you have the last kick of the game too, as Preston did. Yeah. But Wilkinson was very good the way he spoke. You know, I mean, they want to get that victory, and they just didn't get it. I wonder what the Preston boys will have to say.
We'll hear from them shortly. Let's have a look at now at some of the highlights from what was a dramatic final quarter of action here at Cramer Street this afternoon. At three-quarter time, it was Box Hill leading by 8 points. Preston came with a surge, though, after Box Hill kicked the opening goal, and when they kicked that opening goal to lead by 15 points, we all thought that it was all over, but Preston did surge back.
Well, there's no doubt about them, Clinton. They fair dinkum have a go, don't they, Preston? And which isn't to say Box Hill don't either, because against North Ballarat 2 weeks ago, they got up off the mat, you know, and really had the game. You know, they really could have pinched that game, and I suppose that's what's in Wilkinson's mind as well. And that was Rowe, wasn't it, sneaking that one through.
Which gave them the lead back.
Yeah. And this, like, it's remarkable, isn't it? You get that error down at the Preston end. Mangan slips that through, and he was big on that left boot. And then it happened up the other end, and Preston relinquished the lead, you know. So there you go. And Ross Booth has got another one, Clinton.
He's got Brendan Mason with him, Ross.
The first time talking to you on ABC camera is not a happy time for you. Your face tells us right, it's shattered.
Yeah, I guess that tells us through what's in the rooms at the moment, Roscoe. I mean, we had opportunities there. We worked our way back into the contest, into the game. A good third quarter. Hopefully, we thought we'd set it up and go on with the good work in the last quarter and register our first win. And just some real ordinary skill errors and some ordinary decisions at critical stages, particularly in those last 5-7 minutes. Quite telling. And, you know, we let it slip.
Just short kicks in the back, that sort of thing, or others kind of things you got in mind?
Yeah, I mean, short kicks are okay, but if they're poor decisions and they're going to a 50-50 situation where people are manned up and you're coming inboard and you're knowing the context of the game of your last 5 minutes inside your red time, or down the line you go. If it's not clear, take your time, get it down the line, okay, and put time on your side. Yeah. So, you know, a couple of those, and particularly in the last couple of minutes, were pretty ordinary. Then we go back over the course of the whole game and you know, it's no good probably focusing too much in that area that, you know, we shouldn't have found ourselves off the pace earlier again in the first half.
Yeah, and you gave Adam Slater a rest at the end, and you thought he was tiring a bit?
Oh, yeah, look, he was enormous. He gave us big the whole game, and he was just telling us quite a vital stage where he had fresh legs on the ground. We thought we'd freshen him up again and whip him on and whip him off and get him back on again.
OK, thanks for talking to us. We hope next time that we talk to you, you will have a win. At least you've got 2 points on the board.
Thanks, Roscoe.
Thanks, Brendan. Brendan Mason, the coach of Box Hill.
Thanks very much, Ross Booth, down there with Brendan Mason. Ross Booth will head quickly over to the Preston rooms to try and get a grab from either their coach or one of their stars, perhaps. They did have some stars. I thought Plunkett up forward, a bold move, putting someone so small at full forward, yet early on he was certainly creative. And Mangan, I thought, was pretty good in that second half, and Gibson gave them plenty in the last quarter as well.
Well, Mangan was kind of a moral of the story in a way, because he had the long left foot kick, you know, and he kind of looked, he sort of looked like the way you could play the game, and he did give them something. And Plunkett, look, he's fantastic, you know, to play at that size and to occupy spot. And if he nearly took that big mark, and it was him who put the ball out there for Gibson, wasn't it, in the last couple of seconds there, and had the opportunity. They're a great fighting side. Box Hill, gee whiz, you know, I think they should be doing better. When I look, they've got enough tools. I mean, but Wilkinson then is just coming into the game, you know. But and we saw him in the second half. He was tremendous. Now, if he gets better, they'll be really good. And Slater's doing a good job in the ruck. But boy, what a finish! That was so uplifting. You know, in the first half, let's be fair about it, we were straight. It wasn't that flash, and it was a bit tedious, wasn't it? But boy, it was different in the second half.
Mark Williams, coach of Preston, talking to his team now in the rooms after the game. I don't know whether we can eavesdrop in. Let's just have a little listen to Mark Williams.
You've got to take it upon yourselves. The responsibility is yours. You're going to be thinking about it the whole time. And we had the ball a lot. I believe, and obviously we're biased, we believe we outplayed them today. But so we should. You look at the stats, we had plenty of the ball. We just got to be more responsible when we get the ball. And if that means we have to train, just doing pure skills the whole time, just kicking to each other, we'll do it. Right? It was good to see you bounce back after last week's, I suppose, shellacking, if you want to do it soon. You know, we went up there, I think we were prepared for it, got a hiding, come back today, bounced back really well, but we're still here to win a game course. If we want to play in finals, and there's no reason why we can't, you look at our scoreboard. Well, we've drawn here today. 2 draws, a loss by 2 points. You know, those 3 games, you're in the top 3. So believe in yourselves, fellas. Jeez. We say we're not far away. We can be up there. We can play as good as anyone in the competition, as long as you believe you can. I know I harp on confidence and belief, but we've proven it 3 games out of 5 that you're as good as anyone on your day.
Well, there you have it. Mark Williams, the coach of Preston. We certainly thank the clubs for the access that they give us. Rarely do you get a chance to go in and have a listen to what the coach is saying to the team. Some very pertinent points. Believe in yourselves. As we've mentioned, 2 points deciding 3 games, 3 wins. They could be there. And it's great to go in. That's super stuff.
Yeah, it is terrific. I was just thinking of a game we played way back at Port Melbourne, and Serafini had a kick after the siren. Scores were level and he didn't get the distance. So I do remember one of those games. It wasn't much fun afterwards. We all said he should have got the distance. And another time we went in and they changed the score. It was drawn when as we walked to the race. We got to the race, the point went up from the opposition side and we lost. But it was great, and we'll see this little bit.
Well, we're going to have a listen to when the siren goes. We're going to have a look at Gibson's last kick. Let's listen in and see when the siren sounds.
So it was well up. Yeah, it was.
Well, we didn't really hear it there as to when the siren actually sounded. But that was it. That was the decision. Gibson had to get the goal to give them the win.
Well, he was on an angle. He wasn't on his right. He was on the wrong side for a right footer. If it had been the left foot of Mangan, he put down the glasses,
yeah,
clean.
exactly.
She's over. But what a tremendous game.
Let's have a listen. Try and get here when the siren sounds.
Not a bad kick as Gibson. Now the siren. It's a draw.
Yeah. It was one of those ones. Normally, if that had been a fraction earlier, he would have stopped.
Yeah.
He would have stopped and gone back, but with that one, it was really spontaneous. Yep. As it hit his boot, it was called, and that was a bit disappointing for him because he would have steadied and
exactly. Just that 1 second was all the difference.
Give me a draw, and the goal's the win. Yeah, one of those things. You know, he would have settled. So, God, what a game of drama it was, and we have just had them on the ABC.
We have,
We're killing them.
We've had some rippers. Let's have a look what's coming up tomorrow in the VFL. If you want to get on down to your local game, Coburg against Bendigo. That's a winnable one for either of those two sides which have struggled this season. Springvale against North Ballarat, 2 Final Four bound teams. That'll be terrific. Williamstown against Sandringham likewise will be a tough one. And Frankston and Port Melbourne, it'll be rocking down at Frankston, won't it, tomorrow? That'll be a classic. Werribee with the boys. Some good games there.
Yeah, some big games. And
next week we're off on the bus. We're off on the bus up to North Ballarat. North Ballarat against Frankston. That'll be terrific. And the Borough are doing well, and you've got their book.
Yes, so tomorrow, you can Borough supporters take that book down, get on the terrace at Frankston and read it. It's a good read. Good photos.
Has Beverly got one?
Yeah, Bev, I know you've got one. It's being sent to you. You're going to read it, and we're going to talk about it in a couple of weeks.
Bev, a draw this afternoon, a classic match. That's it from us at Cramer St.
Thank you so much, Clinton. I couldn't believe it when you said at the start, one of these teams has to win. Well, I'm afraid it was a draw, and you couldn't have predicted it if you'd liked at the start.